party rigs.
Hello, and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday the 11th of September. 11th? So it's the 11th of September.
There are several 11s.
It is 9/11/2011.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
What are you worried about?
I'm your host, Dan Trade. Joining me today, Robert Kemp.
Yeah, that'd be me.
At a weird angle from the microphone, so you might sound weird.
No.
Zachary Burgess.
I'm further away from the microphone, that's alright, so I might sound weird.
Echo.
Also, I'm sitting in a squeak chair.
And we have a special guest this week, Matt Makin.
Hello.
It's been a long time since we've had a guest.
Yeah.
For
We are
various
last
reasons.
I think I was quite possibly the last guest, and I think it was April.
Yeah.
Man, we're bad.
Not really.
It's not our fault, necessarily.
This would be better. At least this
Well, it's not our fault. It might have been a choice.
Yeah, not many podcasts have have lots of guests, do they? I mean, that I listen to.
Well,
But it keeps it
Depends.
fresh.
Keeps it fresh.
depends what you define as a guest, really. Because sometimes they
Some
have, like...
other person that's there.
No, but I mean, sometimes they have, like, other people who are in the same sort of, you know, who work in the same place or whatever, and they just cycle through.
It makes it sound
That's
like
not really the same as a guest.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's like cycling contributors.
Yeah.
When you have like a constant host, you see, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, I thought you
Random
meant it's like
people.
not all of them are guests. They just sort of, just walk onto set and just sort of stay there. It's like, hi there, hobo. Yes, how are you? Have you got any contribution to the world of video games? I like cats.
He's internet homo.
It doesn't have to be. There are real cats.
Not
well,
all
doesn't
homos
just
necessarily like cats that much.
I like dogs.
Yeah, they prefer dogs. don't
Yeah, I
they?
would have said that.
The goodness
Although,
sandwich.
As a
hobos,
rule, I've not seen a hobo with a cat normally on the street. Maybe.
Cat sandwich.
hobos are like more itinerant than your standard beggar, aren't they? As in, they move around.
Mhm.
So
But that depends on your definition of a homo.
That is my definition of a hobo. They move around
Yeah.
more than your average. I
Tramp,
call them tramp beggar, but if you're American, you can call them an arse, I suppose.
No, you can't.
Why not? That's not an overloaded term. They have ass for meaning buttocks, don't they? Who is it? Call them asses. Or bums. Same thing.
Check out these cheeks. They're just littering my street. Covered in cheeks.
Oh, it's going well so far. So, how's everyone going?
Yeah, alright.
Have you been playing any games lately?
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got any news to talk about?
News!
No.
San Francisco,
I'm thinking.
Driver San Francisco doesn't suck.
Yeah, I heard
Dead
that.
Island is apparently quite good.
If
I
you
did
get,
see. I've not played Dead Island. I watched somebody play it last night, and it did look rather entertaining. But nothing else.
once you patch the game, did you
Well,
hear about all the problems?
Yeah,
it
but that
had
was
on
that
launch?
huge. That wasn't necessarily. That wasn't really the game being broken. That was just they released the wrong version.
Oh, no, that's the PC. Yeah, the PC issue was, for those that haven't heard this, was that they released a pre-release version of an American build onto Steam instead of the actual final release code, which is slightly retarded. Worse than that, there are hints in this pre-release game code that actually call one of the ladies' skill set moves as feminist whore,
Oh, yeah.
which has caused a bit of a stir.
So what is it
Yeah.
actually called?
Gender wars or something.
Oh yeah, that's better.
It's a bit better than
It's a bit
Marginally
better.
better, but
Yeah, it's a bit better.
no, I'm saying that they seem to have got
They're
much
Polish.
more sensitive.
They're Polish, therefore they're from the Stone Age, right?
Yeah, behind the times.
There's the racist out of the way. There we go.
You did it before the podcast, so
All the awesome
Did I?
games at the moment are
I
Polish,
sound like
though,
a Chinaman.
aren't they? What the awesome Polish games? The Witch 2 and
And this
Hard
one,
Reset is Polish as well, isn't it?
Uh,
I'm pretty sure.
Is it not one of the other Eastern Bloc countries?
Um,
Czechoslovakia or something? Or
could be.
Ukrainian?
It's
I don't know.
Soviet bloc games.
It's-
are awesome.
It's over east.
it is one of them. You're right, but yeah, I couldn't think which one.
There did seem to be incredibly Mexican stereotype in the full game. I was watching it last night. I believe he did use the word Holmes at one point.
Hey,
He was called
Holmes.
Omar.
Oh, in Dead Island.
In Dead Island, yeah. It was. They were watching this going, really, if I was Mexican, I'm not sure whether I'd be offended or not.
Do you see? I mean, I really can't get my head around whether or not it would be the type of game I like, because the problem I have with it is that Left 4 Dead just looks more fun.
I think it looks lame. Dead Island. I
It's-
saw the review of it on Game Trend.
Yeah, they seem to like it, and there's a certain amount of the survival horror thing being prevalent in it. You know, for instance, at least in the initial version, it might have been one of those things that they patched was that item acquisition is really fucking hard. Like most of the stuff you might actually want is incredibly rare, so you have to like limit yourself in practically every way for the entire game, which, you know, Joystick summed it up quite well. It's like it's actually technically a very ambitious and quite well achieved game. However, we didn't find it fun, which is a bit of a...
Well, yeah, that's kind of damning, isn't it?
Yeah, and I wonder, even with the patches, whether that would make much difference. Saying that, though, the co-op does sound... The drop-in, drop-out co-op does sound kind of intriguing. Like, it's literally random drop-in, drop-out, so you could be playing on your live-enabled games console /PC/internet device, whatever the fuck it's released on, like all of them. And the people would have the option of dropping into your game at any point.
What, your friends could?
Oh, anyone. Like, if you're online, there is no sort of essential solo mode, really, in the game. The game will prompt you when people sort of want to join your game. You can choose to decline, but it's not designed for that. The game is designed for co-op, basically, through and through.
Because like the 4 characters are actually different rather than Left 4 Dead where they're all the same.
Yeah, that's true. They all
They're
have
like classes.
Yeah, they have like skill sets. They have like story traits which apparently come to nothing. And
Not surprising.
in classic style, it's like I have an elaborate backstory. Let's not extrapolate on this.
Yeah, I did get that impression last night. Also, it seems to be they've got some very weird and wonderful prefix names for weapons. I think one of the ones that I saw picked up was called Frightening Nail Hammer.
Oh, awesome! So they've gone like RPG route. And
yeah,
like,
but I just thought it was this one particular weapon, but I'm watching my sister's boyfriend play it and scrolling through his weapon set. They all seem to have like sort of horrible, sort of general frightening and other words like that in prefixing every single weapon.
motherfucking chainsaw.
Yeah.
So how does the combat work? What
Smiting
kind of
rock
game is it?
It's
action.
It was all
RPG?
melee weapons I saw last night.
It's majority melee. Yeah, the guns are downplayed for only really being
Right.
particularly useful against actual other humans.
Yeah.
It's first person.
It's
first person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First person melee. Okay.
But I saw
Supposedly
I saw a
has quite
meat
a-
cleaver, a mace, and a baseball bat last night. That was
Yes,
the variety. I saw.
and an electrified stick. Is one of the ones I've seen.
no.
So it has a certain amount of Dead Rising
Different
mung
combinations.
stuff together to make stuff.
Yeah.
A bit, a bit more like Fallout, actually, I think, than Dead Rising.
It's a bit because in Dead Rising it was like you had to find 2 specific things, whereas in like Fallout and this it's just like you find a bunch of random junk and it somehow turns into something.
Yeah, it's very much like that.
Like
I don't
an
know.
old adventure game.
Yeah.
And as we said, some of the sort of mutilation graphics look okay. You know, like how when you're knifing a zombie, you actually see the chunks come out of them, and it looks horrible because it's all in daylight most of the game, and it's
Which
like,
is nice, I'd say.
yeah,
That's cool.
It's nice to have a zombie game that's not fucking night.
Yeah.
So you can actually see what the shit's going
Yeah,
on.
well, they did that with Left 4 Dead.
There
2,
is some night.
which is quite nice.
You know,
They did a bit in that.
it's not a perpetual day.
Well,
there is some night,
I mean,
but yeah.
It seems to create a bit of an atmosphere. They've got the random zombie roars when you can't see anything down quite well. There was one case watching somebody go down into what was sort of basically underground public toilets in the resort and had the random noise. It turned out there wasn't anything down there, but it had that point where you're looking at, well, do I go down there?
Yeah,
Is it worth going in there for whatever is in there? Or am I just going to get completely ambushed in this darkened section?
They've exaggerated those sections. I think that's quite nice. They sort of complained about the game trailers review complained about it to a degree. That it's one of the weird sort of like change of pace parts of the game, but I don't think it's that bad because unlike the other sections of the game, like tunnel systems you go into are unmapped, so you don't know where you're going. It's completely random, and you don't know what's down there. You have absolutely no idea in the majority of cases whether there's anything useful down there, or if it's just going to be a murder hole. And your flashlight has limited juice. Classically, it's like for some reason
that was actually a really cool effect. I saw that when the battery wears out, the light goes orange for going off, like. Rather than just like in Half-Life where it just goes off, it actually you see the power sort of die out of it before the bulb goes off,
which is quite neat.
It was a little touch that I thought was pretty cool. Actually.
But at the same time, it can't help. I hate that mechanic in games majority of the time. It's like I sort of understand it, except for the fact that these game worlds have the shittest batteries known to man. It's like, have they not invented Duracell?
It's especially dumb in Half-Life 2 where if you sprinted, then your flashlight would run out faster.
Yeah.
It's a case that I think most games tend to be using Tesco Saver batteries.
Yeah.
If they wanted to do that mechanic, they should just make them all those kinetic torches. So when it goes out, you have to stand there and shake it vigorously for a few seconds.
So that would be,
handle.
now there's an interesting game trade-off that could come from that, because obviously those kinetic ones make a bit of a rattle noise,
Yeah, exactly.
alerting the zombies.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can see what I'm shooting at, but now I'm getting
now
my
if-
foot eaten.
Yeah,
And then if
everything
you have
goes
to be
where I am.
playing on a console like a Wii or a Move, you can actually do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, or even PS3, can't you, with the
Or a
6
Kinect.
axis, you can sit there going,
Yeah.
tickle, tickle, tickle.
Yeah.
Man, they should actually put, to save the planet, this is a dumb idea, but they should put that technology into the Wiimote anyway, so when you shake it, it recharges its
Well,
battery.
I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't. It's the same with mobile phones. Well, the problem is that kinetic tech isn't particularly
They
high
started
powered
doing that
yet.
for
It's only
some
really
mobile phones, haven't they? They started where they're like, you can get like 1 milliamp out of it just from it being in your pocket, and yeah, it's like that's nothing at all.
yeah. The problem is at
There
the
is-
moment
yeah,
that,
there is-
that power requirements of modern tech have far outstrip what you can achieve through kinetic.
But presumably an
Exactly.
iPhone takes a lot more power than a Wiimote.
Oh yeah, there'll be a fuck ton.
Yeah,
But if you think about it, the Wiimote is still having to enable Bluetooth, which is
that's true.
is not the least power hungry communication format in the world. Actually, to be fair, most wireless formats are quite power hungry.
I thought yeah, okay, but you'd think Bluetooth would be designed for minimal.
It's one of the better ones,
Yeah.
I'll give it that, but it's still
Yeah, obviously
it's still
broadcasting.
quite a drain.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about it, the only sort of real practical use that kinetic tech has had is in watches, because they
Well,
require
yeah.
fuck all power to run,
Mm.
and it's that's the only real use. But they're getting better. You know, I read about advancements every now and then come through in the blogs I read and stuff, so they're getting there. But they are getting to the stage where they are going to start putting them into phones, but it's just how much gain you get out of them, as Zac said, is sort of questionable still at this stage.
Oh man, I'm getting fed up waiting for them to bloody announce the iPhone. I want to
iPhone
know
5. But they
what
won't
I'm
do-
going to be buying.
They won't,
Yeah.
they won't do it until like a week before.
I know,
right?
but it should be a week before, in like a week.
What
or
we call
something.
it, 4GS or something? Isn't it?
Oh, I have no
Five.
idea what they're called.
It'll just be
I'm
iPhone
sure it's
5.
well, I thought it was to be 5, and then I'm sure I heard something.
Unless they'll give it a big cat.
somewhere they said actually it's not going to be called the 5, it's going to be called
well, potentially it could be
4GS.
the 4S. Wouldn't
Yeah.
be the 4GS unless it has 4G, which I don't think
It
it
won't
will.
do in this
no, it
country.
might be
No.
4S then.
Yeah, but anyway, the name's not important.
No, very true.
Well, no, they might start naming it instead of like the OSs after like big cats, like they do on like
Oh, that'd be cool.
Mac Line. They could name them after small cats. So this one will be domestic, and then
Domestic.
and then we'll move
Not
on
call
to
it domestic. That has different. That infers different properties.
Well, that depends
It's like
how
having
bad
a
it is.
domestic flight.
Yeah, yeah.
well, or Siamese.
Links or
then.
something.
Do it by fair.
But that's what they're called,
Torture
they're
shell.
called domestic.
Yeah,
They don't have like okay, you could just call it tabby then,
or tortoise shell.
or bastard.
Yeah.
It's not a breed.
It's not a real breed, but you know, some cats are
Oh,
bastards.
the cats with no tails. Manx cats. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Manx.
Manx. That'd be
Manx
great.
would be a
iPhone
bad
Manx.
name actually.
The
iOS
iPhone
Manx.
Lynx. What are the little wild cats? Are they lynx? Is that
Feral?
lynx? Yeah, yeah. And not
It's not
domestic.
breed.
iOS feral.
No, the wild cats that live in the wild and aren't domestic cats that have gone feral. They're actually a breed of
Bobcat.
bobcat.
Yeah, I guess
Maybe.
that's one.
Bobcat, that'd be cool. iPhone bobcat. No, they'll just
That
call
sounds
it
like a racing boat or something.
It does, it does. Okay.
It's
That's not a cat.
It's not a cat, but everything should have a meerkat
Anyway.
involved at some point.
Apparently it's going to be because the thing that's leaked, not really, but is because this is could potentially be bollocks, but the third-party case designs have started coming out, and of course they're wider, longer, and thinner, a lot thinner than the iPhone 4. So could be interesting. So if they have this screen that's supposed to go edge to edge, the phone is also wider as well, so it's going to be like fucking massive.
And therefore not able to fit in your pocket again.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
it'd
see,
be
it's
half
not the
it'd be half the
HTC
thickness.
This
Design-
isn't what makes it not fit in your pocket. It's wideness and length that makes it not fit in your
Thin,
pocket.
Yeah.
That always
Space
the
in my
wider
pocket.
ones always put me off. It's like the Desire HD, the
Yeah.
HTC one. A friend of mine's got that, and I don't like that one compared to the regular Desire. It just looks a bit too. I understand why they've gone for a bigger screen because it's HD, but to me it just looks almost more like it's just getting to the stage of being a very, very, very small tablet PC rather than a mobile phone.
I kind of agree with Zac on this. This and the original iPhone is about as big as you can put. Let's say this as I'm holding up. The iPhone 4 and the original iPhone is about as big as you could possibly get, especially once you've put a case on it. then those things get enormous.
Mm.
And it's like, if they
Yeah.
actually make it any wider, then I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
I never
It's,
used a case, and it hasn't been a problem for me.
Well, I mean, what are they trying to achieve by making it bigger? A phone is about phone-sized, you know.
You're holding
It's
it up to your face.
It's enough to, hold it in your hand comfortably and put it in your face. If
Yeah.
it gets wider, then that's starting to...
Because they're sticking so much extra shit on it we need to do now.
It's not going to be
just a
hugely
phone.
wider.
They're almost now little mini computers
Well, I'm
with a
trying to
phone
think-
function.
I'm trying to think of something between phone and pad that would describe this. Is it like I notebook or I post it?
A postcard.
Yeah, I postcard. That's what it's going to be. iCard. There
You can't
go.
sit over there, man. The microphone's never going to...
Yeah, I'm just living it. Half a second.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, hopefully they will bloody announce it, and then I will find out. I did try a new game on the iPhone that was free for a day.
What?
Zombie Highway.
Zombie Highway.
It's freaking sweet, actually.
We should have linked straight from Dead Island to that. Really.
I was hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it involves like a literal zombie highway.
It does.
What, like you mean like
A road
built
of
from
zombies?
Yeah, a road. No, like a road that becomes a zombie and just like.
Oh, I see.
a driver
yeah.
tarmac starts walking
yeah.
around or something.
No, funny enough, it's a road with lots of zombies on it.
Yeah.
But I think iPhone games on the iPhone basically succeed or fail based entirely on their control schemes.
Is it another one-button game?
So no, this one it's a tilt control plus tapping for shooting. So you tilt to steer your car on a perfectly straight highway,
Oh,
right? So you tilt to steer left and right, and you tap on the left side of the screen or the right side of the screen to shoot out either side. And basically, you go down the highway, and then zombies jump and attach to either side of your car. There are also like busted up, broken cars along the highway, and you can drive. If you drive into them, you crash. But if you drive, so you can scrape the zombies off the side of your car. So you have to like carefully drive so that you scrape them off, and you can also shoot at them. But you tend to, like, depending on the strength of the zombie, it's best to kind of scrape them so they're just barely hanging on, and then blast them off with a shotgun, because otherwise you'll be shooting them forever and then they're going to come off. Yeah, but it's actually really fun. Yeah, so that's it. That's the whole gameplay. You tilt your thing.
I was say, it's not often that many action games, to be honest, on iPhone are really
Work, yeah.
appealing. Yeah, or work particularly well. But I tend to play like the strategy or the Plants vs Zombies style things. And,
It's surprising how well this
or
one
copious
works.
amounts of Carcassonne.
It is surprising how well this works, because they must have. It must be difficult to balance that kind of thing, because like it could have easily been way too hard or just trivially easy, you know. So, but it's surprisingly easy to scrape. I think there's a little bit of leeway, so that I think if you hit the busted up car with almost half of the side of your car, it will kind of scrape off, and you'll scrape the zombies. But if you hit with more than that, then it will smash, and that's the end of your game or whatever. But it's surprisingly easy to scrape off zombies off the side by just lining it up just with the tilt control, which is quite nice. It's quite satisfying. And I think you get various weapons and vehicles when you go up. So you start with like an SUV, but you probably get a Humvee and various things. And there's different classes of zombie, of course, like Big Mama Jumpers and the basic ones. And
Working class.
Yeah.
Class.
Exactly, blue collar zombies. So yeah,
Zombie Highway. You know,
Zombie Highway. It was free for a day, but I'd be worth the money if you wanted to purchase.
I can't help but think that, I'm saying this in the wake of, like, after just talking about a game called Dead Island,
Yeah.
but I can't help but feel that whenever you look browsing through the App Store on iPhone, just how shit game names are on there.
Yeah.
It's like Zombie Highway doesn't really break the convention there.
No.
I suppose it's describing the game in
Yeah.
a fairly accurate way.
But it got
As
his hopes up. You thought it was an actual road that came to life as a zombie.
As is Dead Island, but, which is, again, inspired. But, I get kind of wound up about game names to a certain degree, because they're just uninventive.
Well, indie games always do that. It's like the Xbox indie stuff, like Map Shooter.
Let's not talk about Map Shooter.
Let's never talk about
They kind of have
First rule
to.
about Map Shooter.
I think they have less.
Second rule about Map Shooter is stick figures.
Yeah,
I think
and math.
They have less
Confusing.
leeway to like come up with creative names when they're on the App Store, when they're competing with all those millions of other games. Like, I think for a big retail title, you can call it something fancy, like Shadow of the Colossus or
like
something.
Bullet Storm.
Yeah, I know. That's not fancy. That's obvious, isn't it?
That's what I was saying.
The most
Dude,
amazing,
that's awesome.
the most amazing thing about Bulletstorm is that no one's ever made a game called Bulletstorm before. It seems so obvious.
It's like look at Rob Shelf and look at all these names that aren't that made. Like Gears of War,
That's okay,
It's
though.
quite cool.
Guild Wars.
There's no
Gears of War. No, Gears of War is a
War's a
voice.
good
It
name.
works on
There's-
more than one level.
Well, there's no literal gears. Other than the fact
Apart
that
from the fact that they're called cogs.
Yeah, I know, but that's a sort of pun. It's not like they're giant. Like it's not that like they're actually gears of war. Like there's some amount of these
Well, the
physical
fact that it has
cogs are
war
rolling
Goes into
into.
military.
The fact that it has
nicknames, really.
war in the title is more of the problem. Gears of War.
Gears of War could be a puzzle game.
That would be awesome.
Connect the gears to make your tank go.
Well, no, it's like
About
yeah,
it. Expecting a spin-off any day after Gears of 3.
if you don't
So
put the,
game.
you need to actually it's about field repairs. That's what it is. It's for Gears of War. You have to put your gears back on your gun or something in the series.
Gears Howard gun.
Just
Yeah.
steampunk gun.
Yeah, that could be a function in 3, actually. You have to strip down your weapon rather than just active reloading. Strip down your weapon. It jams.
And
Yeah, we
Halo could easily be like a fantasy RPG with angels and shit.
It could have been Bayonetta. Maybe that's what they were going for.
Well, yeah, that is one that is totally.
She does have a Halo. Yeah, that is freaking insane. That's awesome. That's a great name, Bayonetta. Brilliant.
That's genius, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the state of naming
Virtua
and gaming.
But yeah, Virtual
Tennis.
Virtua Tennis is excused because it was like one of the first.
Yeah.
You know, it was at the
Fine.
time where
It was
Sega's
ancient.
Virtua series.
It was
actually
where you
made
could
sense.
call a thing like tanks, and it was still original.
Yeah. Well, Sonic the Hedgehog. He's a hedgehog. He was called Sonic. It was.
That's a good name.
It's a good name. It's just,
Yeah,
it was simple back then. They just
Sonic
decided
had some amount of thought put into
Yeah.
it.
he was very, very fast.
Yeah,
At least it is, I think.
I don't know if that was that much for
probably not.
it was probably like, we want this character to go really fast, let's think of a fast-sounding name.
Sonic
Super
doesn't
Sonic.
really
And it's
mean...
like,
It was better than when Nintendo.
Super Sonic
back in
means
the-
faster than the speed of sound. Sonic means, what? At the
As
speed
fast
of
as sound.
As fast as sound.
That's pretty fast running.
yeah.
Just call it
Yeah.
fairness.
Subsonic.
Subsonic.
Transonic. That would have been better. Because that's the
That means
region.
I mean, they didn't go down the Nintendo route of going with a very, very racial
Italian.
stereotype of an Italian. Called him Mario, made him a plumber, and gave him a giant hat.
Oh man, what else could they have had though? Like
What are you going for
Pierre,
there?
the French hedgehog, or something. Instead of like, they could have picked a random other country, or like Lang Lang.
Yeah.
We were going Chinese. You know, they'd have had to have picked something else.
Yeah.
Like stereotype. Or Jeeves! It could have been Jeeves the hedgehog.
Jeeves the Hedgehog. I would play that.
Jeeves the Hedgehog, balancing a cup of tea as he runs at 70 fast
He
feet.
has to get to the veranda in time.
Freaking sweet. Jeeves the Hedgehog.
But if he's a butler, he couldn't then have a sidekick. Because surely the butler is technically the sidekick to begin with. What would be a sidekick to a butler?
That's kind of the Joker, Jason Worcester, though, is
Slade.
that
Yeah,
Worcester's
this is-
kind of
yeah.
Jeeves' sidekick.
Could have had a Bursey Worcester type sidekick thing, couldn't you?
Cunning Link, Sonic the Hedgehog. Have you seen what was in the collector's edition?
Oh, a giant ring or some shit.
Well,
There is a giant gold ring.
depends how badly you think of Sega's marketing department, I guess. But
Mm.
it's giant rings.
It's true, though.
No. It's not really a giant ring. It's a sort of to scale ring.
Oh, right.
I don't know how.
To what scale?
Exactly.
You just did that. That's not to scale at all.
It's
If
to scale,
it was
isn't
to
it?
scale, it'd be like this. At least, if
This
not
is
more.
radio.
I don't know.
This and that. Oh, help.
Yeah, I know, but
It's, the size that he gestured is about to scale for a real hedgehog, though. Think
Probably.
no.
about it. Because a real
If it was
hedgehog...
to a real hedgehog,
It's
the ring would be like that or
It's
something.
as big as
It'd be like an
Sonic's
inch.
head.
It's not really as big as Sonic's head. It's slightly smaller.
Anyway, what's in this
But
bloody
anyway, yeah, you
collector's
get a
edition?
replica ring.
Is it made of gold?
That's made of pork. It's
Bacon ring.
awesome. Yes, you get this replica ring made of some metal painted.
I'm
gold.
sure it's not made of metal. I'm sure it's made of plastic painted gold.
I don't know. We might find out.
Would be very
What, because you're going to buy this shit?
Potentially. I don't know. You know, well, the problem is right. I'll
You
finish
said
that.
potentially, that's definitely there.
I'll get to that in the end. We've had this discussion last
Inevitably.
week. But it comes from a figurine stroke paperweight of Sonic with his buddy Sonic.
Are they to scale to the ring?
Let's hope.
Can you separate?
That could be the test.
Or are they just
I think it's a
stuck on
fixed
one base?
sort of. Yeah, I think it's a fixed like.
So you have to have two Sonics standing next to each other.
Old and new, something.
Well, yes and no.
So yeah, to fit the style. A soundtrack album, although what they've said, they haven't released what's on it. So it might,
Well, they can't.
it might be like a...
reveal all their levels.
Well, unless it's
Not
like
that everyone doesn't already know that.
Well, no, unless it's like a one disc of classic and then one disc of remixed sort of stuff.
There's only 3 fucking classics, as we discussed previously.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like classic.
Oh, you mean
music from
classic
the
as in
entire
literally
series.
the classic music?
From the entire series, the original music from the entire series, and then the whole disc of like the stuff from the new.
Like the way they're giving away the orchestral Zelda tunes on
kind of
the
a bit
Skyward
like that.
Sword, which sounds cool.
But also, and this is actually the best, probably one of the best things to ever sort of be included in a limited edition. And this is what made, actually, no. I mean this genuinely. It's like it gives you a reason to actually want the limited edition other than the rest of the crap they've thrown in the box.
Oh, this will be good.
Is a DLC pass.
Oh, cool.
Kind of like how if you
like the Rockstar Pass.
Yeah, if they offered a limited edition, for instance, of LA Noire that came with the Rockstar Pass,
that'd be cool.
holy crap, that makes a lot of sense.
How much is this DLC pass worth? That's the question.
All of the DLC.
Yeah, no, but I meant what is its literal monetary value if you compare the non-limited edition to the limited edition?
In fairness, we don't know because it depends on how much DLC they release.
And
which
how
depends
much
on,
and we already know
charge
they're
you for the
doing
pass.
one bit.
which depends on the success of the game's launch and how much they've got planned for it, that kind of stuff. So that's an unknown, admittedly. But I think that's a great idea. I think limited editions should include that shit.
I think the game should include the DLC.
Well, yeah. In fairness, that is the argument that will always exist with this kind of stuff. But
It's like there's already DLC planned for Deus Ex. It's like fucking put it in the
no,
goddamn game.
yeah, I
That
know.
Rockstar Pass though was totally worth it. I
was a good
I
idea.
really enjoyed those particular cases, the LA Noire extra stuff. The one with the soup factory and the one with the aircraft Spruce Goose.
I did actually see LA Noire play for the first time last night.
It's a cool game.
My sister's got it, and just watching the facial features,
Freaking amazing.
fantastic. I could not believe how good it was. I've been told. I was listening to the last few casts, and you talk about how good it is.
It's so good.
Until you see it up close, you can't really appreciate what they've done.
It just needs to be in every game.
I still maintain I'd love
Really
to have seen
does.
that sort of thing in the next Mass Effect. That's the only thing I found
That-
that lets
exactly.
down Mass Effect is the facial expressions are non-existent in Mass Effect. And
They're
so
better
everything
than
else
Deus Ex,
is so
to be
good.
fair.
Yeah, we'll come to that.
We'll come to that shit.
But because I really like the voice acting and the characterization of Mass Effect 2, and it's
Oh, it's
just
good.
let down so much by
Yeah,
say that male Commander Shepard.
yeah. I always play as female.
I've
so
actually
I-
started
No, you
playing.
get to be a
I have
blonde
played a
or
little
some
bit of
shit.
the.
No, because it'll
Fuck
carry
those
over my. That's
Well, no,
just their choice.
if you carry it over.
On the box, it'll be some stupid blonde,
Yeah.
but I'll have my awesome brunette.
I need to get my
Is it
copy
still
of Mass Effect
it's
1 back so I
Jennifer
can play
Hale
as my
who was
gothic
Bachelor
chick.
in Knights, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Same one.
it's Jennifer
It's
Hale.
interesting.
Get through that.
Even it
I
kind of
didn't-
looks like her as well.
It does a bit. And it's
Oh, no,
quite-
wait, because
listen,
you-
having played Knights,
We're
so-
talking over each other. Stop it!
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, we started first, and then you came
You
in.
didn't.
we were continuing.
And now no one's talking.
Continue, Rob. Continue.
What were you
No,
talking about?
no, moment's gone now. Fuck you all.
Rob was talking about Deus Ex 1, so it's totally irrelevant.
No, Mass Effect 1.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Deus Ex.
It was relevant to
Because we
his
can't
character.
keep talking about it.
Are we going on to Deus Ex yet?
Maybe
Or
we should.
Should we get Assassin's Creed?
Or maybe we should do
Yeah,
that
okay.
first.
Yeah.
Let's do what you've been playing, Matt.
I have actually been playing Assassin's Creed.
The first one.
Replaying the first one.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
so
so
we're
was
both
Rob.
in this.
Yeah,
boat.
we're both in this.
So let's have a discussion.
Well, we wanted to see what Rob thinks because Rob's played through it for the first time. I'm halfway through replaying it. So
Right. Yes, I have finished it, so I now have a complete view of all of his Assassin's Creed 1. So. To some degree, I'm now ahead of Dan's knowledge for the first game.
Yeah, you will be. Well, way ahead on the first game.
Well, I say that, but if you've played like the first 15 minutes of it, the first assassination of Assassin's Creed, you still know what the remaining 8 are going to be like.
Yeah.
It's like
just slightly different
throughout
when you
the
get to it.
entire game. There is very little variation, which is bloody annoying, to be honest, because they could have done quite a lot with the cities, and I think they just missed some opportunities. I have played what is quite possibly the worst part of the game now, which is the docks. Now, there's just so many parts that I can't quite understand why they made these decisions in the Dockland area. For instance, the jumping mechanics throughout the entire game are mostly impressive, except for when you're actually in a hurry. In which case, the game has a very large tendency with its one-button free-run system to do exactly the wrong thing.
Pivotal point in time.
Well, the bit that gets me is sometimes, even if you run straight at a ladder, it will attempt to do a wall climb on a ladder and not grab the ladder.
That sucks.
Even if you're like an inch, or sometimes you'll be like an inch to the side, and he'll just go, "I'm running up this wall. I can't think that there's a big thing to hold on to right next to me." It's like, motherfucker, just got the fucking ladder.
I've been reintroduced to that. I'd forgotten how frustrating that is, especially after an assassination when you're on citywide alert and you're trying to escape. Because obviously you can't get into the bureau until you've become anonymous again.
I can't really remember exactly how they improved it through the games, but from playing 2 and Brotherhood, you definitely, once you start playing those games again, you have to get yourself back into the mindset because that free running stuff, it works really well I think they improved stuff like attaching to ladders, like they gave you a bigger leeway so that you don't have that finicky 1 pixel out and it fucks up and does a wall jump. But you still, if you're not used to it, you still end up, because he very confidently jumps into space.
This is where I'm leading to, this leads into my second problem in that the running mechanics in the Dockland. The problem that you have is that it's water.
Yeah.
And that you could run along a straight line of poles sticking out, which would normally, given the simplicity of the control scheme, you think, I could just hold forward an A at this point in time, and it will just run along the poles, which he'll do for about 2 steps, and then take a wild diagonal turn for no reason at all, sending you into the water, which leads me to my next point, and that, how the fuck can't Altair swim?
Oh,
he's a
master assassin, but he can't swim.
Ezio can swim, there you go.
Thank fuck! Sorry, because that's just incredibly irritating.
I went back to I'd forgotten.
yeah.
I had forgotten Altair couldn't swim. And I jumped into a river to try and avoid something, and then was genuinely surprised all over again when I died.
Because they turn it into serious gameplay. Like, you can hide under the water, under bridges, to escape guards in 2.
That's cool.
It's not just the fact that you don't die, it also turns... Because, of course, 2 has Venice and it has
which makes so much
canals
more
and
stuff.
stuff.
I know, it's just stupid, because combined with the dodgy free running that occasionally has a mind of its own and just sends you into the abyss, combined with the fact that the Dockland is filled with those fucking irritating drunk people who just push you.
Oh, I need to speak about that at some point.
You get pushed into the water quite frequently, so you'll do some delicate jumps, you'll get most of the way through the docks, you're about a metre away from the target, and there's a drunk guy on a boat who just pushes you in. And you're like, fuck, I can't do anything about that.
There was no need for those drunk people in the game. The biggest one I had playing it last night was doing one of the Informer missions where you have to go into 2 or 3 stealth kills and then you need to go back to the guy and tell him you've done the kills.
Yeah.
And I'd snuck around, done the kills, and walking back, literally, almost got the guy in my sights. And this drunk guy pushes me into a guard, light goes red, mission failed. Speak to the Informer, start again.
There's so much of that that's just really bad. And
yet you lose synchronicity if you stab them.
Yeah.
It's just like innocent. It's not innocent. He's screwing up my mission. I'm gonna hit and blade him.
Son of a bitch, get out of the fucking way. And the weird thing is it's inconsistent. It's like I find the same thing with the women.
There is an achievement that is related to that.
Or is there?
Apparently,
not on PC. So
no. On Xbox, if you grab and throw 25 of them, you get achievements. So I'm working towards that. But again, if they pop up in the middle of a pickpocket mission. When you're trying to track somebody,
the last possible moment, and
you can't throw them out of the way because you'll draw attention to yourself and fail. And the minute somebody sees you, the pickpocket goes, "I'm out of it," and show off, and you've got to get yourself anonymous and circle around and start again. And that's just those elements are incredibly frustrating about the first game.
Yeah, the crowd elements seem inconsistent towards you. Is my problem with it, and that for a game where blending in is so important, why do the drunks only push you? Regardless of whether you're blending in or not, why do the people asking for money only pester you?
Yeah.
They've obviously taken some shortcuts in the initial design. They probably intended it like that way, but it's just really bloody irritating.
What was better about the second one is, I mean, I can't remember. Are there any drunks in the second one?
No.
You have still got you've got some begging people, and you get the minstrels.
Minstrels, yeah.
Minstrels. But the advantage is that you have in the second, you don't have in the first. Is that you have got a thing where you can throw a few coins on the floor, and actually give them what they want.
Yeah,
and that's a very good way of clearing the crowd, actually. If you're trying to attract somebody, you chuck a load of money over there, and basically every single NPC will go, "Oh, Florence!" and they'll all run towards where you chuck this money, pretty much. Well, it could go back to stereotypes again.
So good. Well, this leads me to point 3, that is possibly the game's biggest flaw. For everything that the game tries to do to set up that you're a super stealthy assassin, you can do what you want and stuff, none of the major assassinations, apart from one, can be achieved via stealth. I can't...
Only the first one, in my experience.
Well, there's one where you're in a monastery, isn't it? Or, not really a monastery, kind of like a mental hospital, isn't it? And the dude's just walking around. And there is a way you can get in and then walk right up to the guy without him noticing.
Yeah,
actually assassinate.
I mentioned it. The first one, actually, the very first one, in the market, where the guy goes mental and stabs the guy who says he can't fill the order, you can hang around waiting to be checking one of the stalls and sneak up on him. And
actually, thinking about it,
I've only had 2 out of the 9. The rest of the time, you're going to chase him down.
Actually, saying that, I think there is a third as well. In that, when that guy poisons his wine that's coming out from the fountain,
I did that one last night.
I think you can reach him without him noticing. The problem is, I got spotted by the archers, and then
I got spotted by the archers because I took the advice that you get, because this time I'm actually doing all 6 of the information things rather than just doing the bare minimum. And you can scale that statue up where the poison wine comes out and hop up, but because the archer saw me...
Yeah, you're just doing it right in plain sight.
But I managed to avoid any guards getting in between me and him, so I managed to catch him quite quickly.
Yeah, that wasn't
the third target, the slaver guy, is really annoying because it literally forces you to have to chase him, because it's the one where he locks you inside the building.
Pretty much... that one was the interesting one, actually. I liked that one, because even though it wasn't a proper assassination, it actually set aside a scenario that was different from the others. It's like, oh, okay, they're actually trying to mix it up a bit. Yeah. But weirdly, that one's quite near the start of the game, so it's like, and then they've mixed it up too early. But yeah, it's annoying, because for all the information you learn, like, there's one where there's a public execution going on, and the information you receive is he'll turn his back on you at one point because he likes to lecture the prisoners before he kills them, things like that. He takes pleasure in this and stuff. So you think, right, fine, what I'll do is there's a handy bunch of scholars in the corner that I've been told I can blend in with to sneak past the initial line of guards, so I'll do that. And they sort of casually walk across the public execution thing in a very unsuspicious manner, of course.
Yes, because they're scholars.
You walk through the line of guards, and you think, right, he's got his back turned to me, he's having a go at this succubus, and there's like, now's my chance. I've got enough time to get up on stage before the guards turn around and kill me. The moment I break blend, they all go, Assassin!
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there goes my stealth moment completely. I can't sneak up on this guy and backstab him. I have to get into a fight. And I hammed with practically all of the assassinations. There's just no way of getting to the target without being spotted. And it's like, this isn't assassination. This is just going in there and having a fight.
Yeah.
I managed to deal with him quite quickly because I opted for a different route of trying to get him with a throwing knife from the crowd. But all that does is piss him off and piss all the guards off. I did manage to knock him to the floor and quickly hidden blade him, so I managed to make it very minimal. I didn't have to fight. Rather than running, he tries to fight you alongside the guards.
Most of them do.
Yeah.
A few of them, towards the end of the game, they turn around and fight you, and it's just that's the easiest way, to just get into a fight and kill them as part of it. Yeah. And there was a couple of ways, because you can't finish the job with throwing blades is the problem. You can't actually...
You have to hidden
blade because you have to get the confession, you have to hidden blade, and it's like, well, okay, what is the point in throwing knives? The only time I ever used throwing knives was during the game's final fight. Which is actually the highlight of the game. I'll be fair, it does end on a great high. I'll try not to spoil it too much if you haven't done it already.
For this game that's like 1,000,000 years old.
Yeah, I know, but the ending is really good.
The throwing knives are useful when you're traversing the rooftops later on in the game and you've got more guards on the top. You can just quickly dispatch them when they start shouting, "You should not be up here," and you can just quickly go, "You shouldn't have a throwing knife in your implement," but bang, there you go. And it means you can traverse the rooftops without setting the alert off every 5 minutes.
Should have thought of that. I fucking hate archers in that game. They're just... they're just over suspicious of everyone. Like as I said last week, it's like I could be climbing my own fucking roof, and they'll say I shouldn't be.
The general public are as well. You climb up. Fair enough when you're like climbing up somebody's windows and stuff, and they start calling you crazy and stuff. It's fair enough. But I genuinely playing it this morning was climbing up a ladder, and I heard this NPC go, "What is he doing? He'll break his neck." It's like
The
it's a ladder. Come on.
They're everywhere. Have you not seen a ladder before?
It's like a Middle East precursor to health and safety. Oh, you're allowed to climb up this ladder like this.
It is quite funny how much the repeated dialogue you get about that kind of stuff.
It's like, why is
Even
he
different
acting
accents,
like a
I found that actually it's bad enough because you play through
You must
Acca
be
in
late.
Jerusalem.
And she must be beautiful.
But it's when they re-record it with the different accents. Because you play through Damascus and Jerusalem, and you do the first 2 missions, and obviously it's all sort of like the Muslim side of things. They've got accent, and then you get to Acca, and obviously it's the Crusades, and you got basically everybody in Acca seems to have been transported across from East London,
Really?
discovered. Basically, it's Cockney or French. They've tried to go a bit. Well, hang on a minute. The royal family was still relatively French at this period. So we'll throw in a few French troops as well.
It's good you came when you did. They'd have had their way with me.
Wait till I tell my husband. But when you listen to some of the talking from saved citizens, and it's identical word for word dialogue from what you've experienced in Damascus and Jerusalem, just with a different accent. It's like you must have had to do more than one recording.
Actually, it's not always the same. There's quite a few more because most of the time you're saving women in the Cockney land, and they
it's
say,
when you say
the Arabs don't talk about having their way with me.
No, so it's more when you're saving the scholars. Actually, the scholars are definitely word for word when you save them.
And I wish my son was as brave as you.
Yeah.
The whole city shall know of your sacrifice. You have done me a kindness, sir.
You get that, or then in Acca, you then get somebody who sounds a little bit like Stephen Fry going, "Oh, I wish my son was as brave as you."
Would you like a taxi?
Yeah.
I'm a cockney.
Would you like a taxi? I can take you down.
As your Pauline. She's alright.
You do half expect somebody to break out in music hall, because it's just really...
Do I look like a merchant? No, bugger off.
It's that way that they just seem to, that American thing that they just assume that everybody in the UK automatically speaks, they're all from the East End of London. Nowhere else in the country is occupied apart from East End of London.
It was Canadian. It's Montreal.
Well, North American view then.
That's where the French people are.
Yeah.
They can get a hold of French.
That's even worse. The Canadians should know better.
In fairness, that is the nice bit about Acca, actually, in that game, because they have, or Acre, however you say it.
I think it's Acre.
I know they could hear NPCs called Acca.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a pronunciation thing.
Yeah, but they, it's interesting because it is actually sort of, you can tell that it's not just British, is the thing. The Crusades have obviously picked up some guys along the way, so you hear French dudes and German dudes. And it's, so that's, I didn't hear any Italian, but there's French and German in it.
What is good is when you have the scenes with Richard the Lionheart, that they've got him the French accent, which is good, because they could have gone the easy route going English king, English accent, but that was obviously there's only 1 or 2 kings down the line from William the Conqueror, and a lot of them actually only spoke French.
He never even lived in England.
He very rarely came here. I don't think he actually ever spoke in English at all.
No, he didn't.
His accent wasn't type. It was only very, very, very slightly French.
Yeah, but they didn't go for
it was mostly
giving it that standard English, making him sound like Prince Charles. Hello, my name's King Richard. They didn't go down that route, which was good. There was a bit of research into that clearly.
It's that game got Saladin in. He's like one of my favourites.
Well, he's an unseen character.
Clearly, because of the name, but also because he's also a totally awesome general.
Or Salahadin, as the Muslims pronounce it.
Yeah. Fine.
No, he's
as good as Saladin.
no, Saladin is much better. No, he's like an unseen character in the game. He's like Maris from Frasier. You hear about him quite a lot, but you never see him. But what's interesting, if you go on the Assassin's Creed wiki, there's a picture from him. Obviously, somewhere on there they've generated some sort of concept art, and then just decided,
okay,
we'll just have all the heralds talking about him. I don't know if he appeared in some of the previous games. You read some of the backstory prior to the first game.
That's what I say. The story is basically is Assassin's Creed's strongest element. Above everything else, the story is. Yeah. Apart from the fact that the modern day story, spoiler alert, has no closure. at all. It just sort of
Play the next game.
It just, as I say, in
the
the first
next
game, it has it's annoying because you get, some people say, oh, but the modern day storyline, I don't care for it at all, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's my.
I quite enjoy it. Actually.
Yeah, I was getting myself drawn into it, going, but there's questions here. We kind of know that they're bad guys, and we know that, and you can figure that out quite early on.
I like the shadiness of Abstergo, and then the big revelation that Abstergo is. Hang on, it'll be still a spoiler alert. Yeah, 10 past, right? That's right. I'll let Dan take that one. It was quite good.
Officially allowed.
But yeah, but that was, that you could tell that was coming.
Yeah.
I think it was spoiled for me slightly from knowledge of the future games that Lucy was going to be an assassin. But, so I knew that was coming. But the fact was is that they didn't. That was all there was to that storyline.
It is expanded.
That is it. We've explained the entire modern storyline in 2 words, pretty much. It's like,
I've played another 2 games and there's still not much.
Which is a real shame.
Well, I think in Revelations
they don't explain anything.
I think in Revelations is where it's probably going to come into its own thing because I think there's going to be a lot more.
Well, the title kind of says they're going to explain stuff, but I bet they won't. I bet it'll be some other stupid cliffhanger.
It'll lead into a completely new story.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Revelations is going to turn out to be. It'll be a great game, but
there has been. I've read a bit more about the basic setting of it and how they're mixing in playing as Ezio and Altair, which is
that's
one of the seals of Altair that they've been talking about. And
it'll be really good.
It should be quite good.
But I don't have high hopes for the modern storyline.
But it's supposed to be a bit about more because obviously about sort of the way Brotherhood ends.
Yeah,
and the little voice bit where they stick him back in the animals at the end and saying about. Well, what's it going to do to his head? Yeah. There's a whole thing about apparently in the Animus, you're in this sort of back door area to the Animus, the Black Room, funnily enough.
Right.
And part of it will be trying to put your mind back, Desmond's mind back together again, which has the potential to be an exercise.
Was that a spoiler?
Sort of.
I don't know.
Shut up.
I don't really understand that, so there you go.
Sort of.
I actually don't want the rest of it spoiled.
Don't worry.
Because I'm kind of in now.
No.
I'm in like Flynn.
Yeah,
and you've only got another 2 games to catch up.
Yeah, but they're better.
No, listen about that. That doesn't give away any of the key bits.
I am one of you now.
2 is very long. 2 is like
you have been converted.
If you do all the feathers and shit. Fuck the feathers.
Yeah. I'm on the case.
Keep fucking that chicken.
Anything else to say about the Assassin's Creed? You would say
like there.
Well, no.
Started.
Well, no, I have some. Obviously, I've been playing the PC version, so I haven't. Presumably, as I say, the Chivos thing might have added some stuff to the game and made it a bit more of a draw.
Yeah, there's some little fun ones, like jumping through so many merchant stands.
Yeah,
when you're avoiding.
And obviously, the first game does look a bit dated now to a degree.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the large scale of the cities is still kind of impressive when you stand on a viewpoint, especially in Jerusalem.
It's pretty when it came out.
It's
a long time ago now.
Yeah,
yeah.
and
how long ago was that?
I don't know. It must be at least
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, about that. I was playing it in 3D as well for the majority of the time, which is.
Does that add anything to it?
It's nice. I quite like playing games in 3D. If they ran it didn't affect the performance on my machine, so it was well worth it. I think. I just like 3D. I think it's a good gaming is a good medium for 3D, probably more so than most shitty films that have come out in 3D.
Very true.
Fair enough.
There was only one film that's really benefited from 3D.
Yeah, and there's no.
That was Tron. So. I thought it did.
Avatar was okay in 3D.
Avatar was fantastic.
Oh yeah, I missed the boat on that one. I only ever saw that in 3D.
Just the film itself wasn't that great. That's the only problem.
I really like
Sam Worthington playing every character Sam Worthington has ever played.
The awesomest thing about Avatar was definitely the guy drinking the 3D coffee. That was, I love that. He's like, and not a single fuck was given that day.
I do feel I missed out not seeing that film. Didn't even when they re-released it for 3D with the added 8 minutes. I didn't even see it then.
Oh, did they do that?
Yeah, it was all built up. It was like, re-releasing Avatar in 3D with extra footage. You look into the small print, it's about 8 minutes, and it's not 8 minutes in one place. It's dotted out across the film. Yeah. I was like, that's a bit of a rip.
Yes. But, yes,
3D.
3D. So, yeah, I obviously, my system, if it's capable of running it in 3D with no performance loss and those, it had its glitches, don't get me wrong. So I'm not looking forward to seeing those, but presumably the version I have is now Xbox, so I won't get so many glitches, because generally console games seem a bit more stable. You know, your PC tends to have a
It's
few
true.
issues every now and then. That sound would glitch out. Obviously, I had the DRM issues when I didn't have internet, or what we think are DRM issues. I did have it fail on me a couple of times without internet, so maybe that wasn't related. Maybe that was just a one-off. So I perhaps take back my Ubisoft rant at that point in time.
I don't know. Your internet might have gone down behind the game and you wouldn't have seen it. So.
Well, maybe. But yeah, I did start to have issues with it on PC, so I won't get those, which is okay. But I'm also a bit worried. Obviously, it's been running at 60 frames solid for me, and of course, I'm not convinced the Xbox version would handle it like that.
I presume it's locked at 30. I presume it's locked at 30.
Yeah.
Or I say locked. I think it performs quite well.
Yeah.
You know, it's fairly polished, I seem to recall.
Because I honestly believe that a difference in frame rate makes for a very different experience.
It does.
I mean, if it's locked and it's at a fairly consistent 30, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It just makes the game feel different.
It does.
Feel very different. So I'm a bit sort of like set back by that. You know, I'm taking that a little bit tentatively, but I'm sure I'll get into it eventually. You know, it won't matter. It'll just be that initial hit of, oh, this is weird. You know, this isn't quite.
Well, I think if you like the first one as much as you seem to have done, then you'll be just as into the sequels as I was.
As I seem to have done, I've been picking flaws rather than finding.
No,
it.
but
we all
always
did.
do.
We all did that when we played it,
It's
but we all still liked it. It's the weakest game of the three, but it's still enjoyable. And
Yeah.
if you like it, you can get past.
Yeah.
It gets an okay rating from me. It's not mind blowing. I'm
No,
not entirely
definitely.
sure it deserved all the praise it got.
When it came out, there were a lot of people. Well, the reviews were a bit middling. They weren't.
Okay.
That happened. Like there was a bit of okay from the reviews. I seem to remember at the time. And then when 2 came out, everyone was like, oh.
I find I'm more critical of it going back and playing it now, having played 2 and Brotherhood.
Yeah.
That whereas I was more inclined to ignore the negative bits before, because overall it was still a good game. Having seen the improvements they made with 2 and Brotherhood, I'm actually sitting there going, no, why couldn't you have done this in the first game?
I suppose, but
the camera angles as well. When you go into when the camera angle changes, if you're in a battle with 3 or more guards, on occasions, when it rotates around, you'll get something that I don't know if you found this. You'll get like a big, like a sticky out bit of wood on a building.
Oh, you know nothing. You know nothing of that.
In 3D.
Imagine that in 3 fucking D, where a bit of wood is literally sticking out in your face, and you're like, oh fuck! I wasn't expecting that camera angle.
I do have sympathy for them though, because it was quite an ambitious project, and things like you're screaming at the TV going, "Why can't you swim, Altair?" And the answer is, well, they ran out of animation budget, and then the next time round they had the budget to spare, so they could fix
I'll tell you one
everything.
I didn't necessarily think that's the only reason.
I'll tell you one thing though, we might have to take back a lot of what we've said previously. Altair isn't that much of a cock.
I just don't.
I'm discovering this as well. But
As the first half of the game, yes, he's a cock. But the second half of the game, he's fine.
It's a whole
redemption.
It's a whole redemption thing. I am still finding the fact that he's the only man in the Middle East with an American accent.
He's
Very
quite
annoying.
American, yeah.
And they semi-address that in the modern day story where Desmond and Lucy have one of the dialogues you can go through. And they're saying that it's the animus is the boat, it translates it. It's like, yes, but it translates everybody else with a Middle Eastern accent.
Yeah.
It's like one
apart from Altair, who just seems to be an American accent.
The thing about
is
that
Altair
Altair,
actually Italian then, or is he American?
he's Italian.
That's all right.
I think his accent's fine. I'm not Italian, so I wouldn't know, but I think they're.
It's probably an Italian listening to something. No, not at all.
They're good enough. Yeah.
Mamma mia.
Riesco di pace. You say that a lot.
Ciabatta.
Yeah, I don't believe he's saying rest in peace now, Ciabatta. What he says later
Filippo Berio.
Spaghetti. Ravioli. Mamma mia.
The download to this podcast in Italy going right down.
I don't think they could get any lower.
That's true.
See, my problem with Altair wasn't... I don't mind if you're playing a cock. My problem, really, I mean, it's kind of weird, but maybe that'd be interesting. I mean, that's kind of true of your guy in L.A. Noire. He's a bit up. I don't know, not up himself, but he's a bit stiff. Yeah, and that's fine.
Start soup.
But the thing that really offended me about the start of Assassin's Creed, the first one, is it gives you control, but it forces you to be a dick. Yeah. It's like in a role-playing game, it's like you choose, in Mass Effect, you're like, I want to be a dick, I'll press the right-hand button. I want to be a good guy, I press the left-hand button, or whatever. Whereas in this, it's like, you have control.
You're driven to that.
You're driven to being an idiot. Not just a dick, but also a Freaking idiot!
Playing the early mission the second time round, you're just like, no,
why are you doing that?
It's like when you go back and watch a film and you know something, but it's like you say something bad's going down, and you're sitting there screaming, don't do it, this will happen.
I'm not
don't leave someone alone in a horror film.
Yeah.
I don't mind the character's a cock, I just don't want to be forced to be a cock, particularly.
Yeah.
The weird thing is that at the end of the game, that bit at the start gets referenced because one of the guys.
Oh, Malik.
One of the guys. Yeah, Malik. Sorry,
Malik.
Malik.
He ends up being the bureau leader in Jerusalem, and he's pretty pissed off. Something to do with the fact that he's only got one arm because of you, and his brother's dead. Little thing, he's pissed off about the little things, clearly.
The little things, yeah.
It gets referenced quite a bit, but I didn't. I'd forgotten all about that. Like when I was seeing you, I didn't make the connection that was actually him.
No, I didn't the first time I played
until I got to the end, and he mentions it. It's like, oh, that was you.
I did exactly the same thing first time around. I didn't.
You're not so much of a cock anymore.
The trading barbs when you introduce him a bit, you're almost expecting. It's like really, really under the surface. Sort of hating each other. You just expect him one point out to tell him, yeah, well, your brother's dead. He's almost getting to that point. You expect him to turn around and be nasty.
You one-arm freak.
It's funny there's no button that can make you do that. Cause
deride.
It's your eye button.
Yeah, they'll be like those categorized like conversation trees, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like deride, take the piss, lament.
Oh, yeah. Does that?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so, Ash Creed, done.
Sweet.
Check it off. We'll never talk about the first one again.
Hooray!
No, we're just going to look around the second one.
Reference when we're talking about the second
Except in reference to the second one for the second time. Let's go.
Yeah, it's just rolling, isn't it? Once you get to the end of Brotherhood, and I'll have to be playing Revelations, and then we'll need to get Zac to play the first one, and then we'll just keep it rolling forever.
It'll be the endless Asscast.
The endless Asscast. Anyway, let's talk about a different game, shall we?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so should we stay with me?
Yeah. Let's get you going.
Okay.
What else is there?
Connect Sports. I want very quickly to bring that up again because I hadn't used the party mode on that yet.
How is that different from 2-player?
Strangely awesome. Right, what party mode does is it takes all the control of what you do out of your hands. You have no choice of it.
That's all you use, then what you do?
Use your feet.
I remember the slogan, your body is the controller.
Yeah, that's not quite what I meant. It takes the event selection is no longer in your hands. It forces you, it's basically a 2-player mode, but with the
tournament style
intent that you're like, blue team and red team. So it forgets about the who you are recognition. Basically, like anyone can play it at any time.
All right, yeah.
But so it's for
Parties.
as many people, as many people as you want to put in. But it's quite nice because there's a sort of spinner selection. It says, "What event will you be doing?" in the E4 voice.
Yeah,
and it's like it's boxing. And it's like, but the entire thing is voiced by him, so he even tells you what you have to do at the start, rather than those little cutaway tutorial things that it does. It's like get as many knockdowns as you can, and it's like, but it's all him, so that's immediately more awesome.
Rather than weird, boring sounding words.
But all the events as well are short versions of the ones you would normally play.
Right.
So the bowling, for instance, will be a shortened version of one of the mini games. For instance, it's like get as many down as you can with endless balls and an endless stream of pins. Just keep chucking it as much as you can at a time. Or the short discus event is friggin' hilarious because it's like you've got to try and throw the discus as short as you possibly can, which is an effort in just trying to manipulate the control to do something weird. Which we discovered was like gently moving your arm in an overarm fashion is enough to make it sort of throw at the floor, which is kind of funny. But it mixes up what is already there, and you don't care about. The best thing is you stop caring about all of its flaws, like because the difficulty doesn't exist because you're against someone. There's no AI to play against per se, and it's not playing it at champion difficulty, so you don't feel annoyed about.
Thank God.
About missing a shot that's impossible to reach because that level isn't there. It's just fun, and the level of presentation is slick. I mean, really slick for a minigame collection. There's no hard cuts. Like when it moves to the spinner is like a mirror ball, and it sort of shatters onto the screen, does its animation, shows the event you're going to be playing, shatters out, and there's the event. It's just the whole thing is slick and it's lovely, and you get to play as a chicken. which is fucking awesome.
That's sold it for me. If I get a Kinect, I'll have to have Kinect Sports.
Although Dan might have a problem. Dan might have a problem with that though. He doesn't like playing as a cock, so it's.
Is it a cock?
But
I think it has got one of those little red tabs.
Oh, I guess it is a cock.
So it is a cock.
I see what you've done there.
It's funny because all of the mascots you get, like there's a giant eye. There's a
orb.
Yeah. There's a shark person called Speedy Shark, and there's
Speedy the shark hog.
The giant eye. I'm now just thinking back to Quake 3, and you had that giant eye that ran around on legs.
Yeah, that's what Zac meant when he said orb.
Oh, yeah, it was that sort of.
Yeah, but there's a zombie, but they all had like names. So when you pick them, it's like Speedy the Shark, or I forget what the others are
innovative
called.
naming.
But, yeah, Eyeball the Monster Man. Or something. They said like Sporty something as well, and they've all got
Sporty
shit.
Eyeball.
They've got shit names, but they've got names. Except for when you pick the chicken, and instead you just get like music playing.
Hillbilly chicken.
Yeah, for no reason at all. They couldn't think of a name to do with sporting chickens, obviously, so they just sort of made him. Yeehaw.
Insert your own cock joke here.
Cocks.
Keep fucking that chicken.
Yeah, actually thinking about it, it's probably his dodgy ground, isn't it? Speed and cocks and premature. There's all kinds of...
Where did premature come from?
Yeah, exactly. This is Rob's mind at work.
Cocks and speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So anyway, Kinect Sports. Yeah, that was the one bit of the game I hadn't experimented with yet, and now I have, and it's quite good. Roll on.
The game continues to be quite good overall.
Yep, roll on.
That new bit hasn't affected the average.
No, but it's well, I suppose it has. It's elevated it slightly.
Oh, it's slightly better
because of the difficult game.
Because of the cock.
Yeah, because of cock, basically. Yeah, I love the cock.
It's all about the cock.
Yeah.
It's all about the butts, though. Is typically Rob's opinion.
Again, I didn't bring that up.
That's the question. That making the top. It's all about the butts. Anyway, enough with Rob's gay pride weekend.
Yeah.
Back to
it's fucking
excellent. Right.
Oh god.
Have you been playing anything else, Matt?
I've been playing Red Dead as well.
Oh yeah.
I finally got into that. I feel having listened to the last few podcasts, I sort of missed the party on that. How much more have I got to add that you haven't already said?
Red Dead is like stuck at the top of our ridiculous hot topics thing, which is really badly.
Whether I've got anything more to add, just more. I am really, really liking it.
It's fucking great.
It's fantastic, and just
game.
How big it is. Bearing in mind, I think I've got as far as Mexico now.
Yeah,
and I've only just found out there's a third area. I mean, I thought the game was pretty big to begin with.
Did the song work for you?
Song.
When you first reach Mexico, you get like a song that's supposed to play as you ride across the plains.
Yes, I got that.
I fucking hate it.
I do got that. But it seemed a little really bit out of place considering everything that's played in the background prior to that point in the game. You're suddenly like, I did genuinely check if my radio had to switch itself.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. It happens twice in the game, and both times it fucks up.
It fucked up for me. So, the second
it's
one
like, oh, flowers! Oh, shit, the music's
Well, I got one lyric out of it. It started saying, it's like, and I know... Fade out.
Yeah. No, but I'm just amazed. The development that's gone into the game world is fantastic.
It's so
especially, you really realise it when you start riding through Mexico, and obviously it's what these bits now... America, presumably, because you've got things like spoofs of Table Mountain and things like that, and the big rock formations.
Well, in reality, mostly in America, but
it's mostly in
the
America.
game,
But at the time, it's sort of at the Manifest Destiny era when basically the Americans were just nicking stuff off the Mexicans and buying land off France.
I love that.
So I basically summed up American expansionism, buying land off the French and nicking stuff off Mexicans.
and Native Americans.
And Native Americans.
Let's not forget
let's not forget the Native Americans. But actually, I was fine. You were saying you only discovered before we started recording that you didn't know about the fast travel from campsites until...
No, I spent about the first half of the game just riding everywhere.
I do that anyway, because I like riding.
That's what I was going to make. I could have finished the game in half the fucking time.
Yeah. It's fantastic, because one... sort of the environment, you seem to take a slightly different route every time, so you see different bits of the game.
Yeah.
And what I really like about the game is the random events. When you're riding from town to town, saving
when they work.
When they work.
When they don't just murder you instantly, and it's like, hi guys, what's going on here?
That's when you start getting suspicious. The random woman who's like, help me! Oh shit!
Yeah. Most of the time, I didn't even get the warning of it, though. They just sort of like pop out and shoot me. It's like, oh, okay.
I did get confused and sort of lost a bit of honour when you have to save people who are being chased by wildlife. And I'm not fortunate enough to own a proper flat screen TV. I have a big old CRT thing.
Yeah.
And the downside is...
You couldn't see the little walls.
Can't see the walls. It's hard to read the subtitle, the little instructions that come up, because it's such tiny font.
Yeah.
So you have an SDTV issue?
You playing an SD?
Must be.
Okay.
I need to play that. It's an old... It's a very, very old Sony CRT TV.
It would be unlikely if you had an HD CRT in this country. They do exist, but
it's very old. It was a rental TV my grandfather had, and after he died, my dad tried to return it to Houston. He said, "We'll never rent this out again. Keep it." And it was given to me when I moved out. Pretty much.
That's awesome.
So if you want to get a free TV, just rent it for as long as you
basically, it will cost us more to get rid of it.
By the way,
we might as well.
Beer o'clock.
That's my beer.
I planned ahead, you bastards.
Fine. Okay.
But yeah, so I didn't see the text come up saying save the guy, and I assumed he was a guy running away from deputies.
So do you?
And so I just shot him, and then realised I was
I see. And there were wolves rather than because if you do shoot the guy that the deputies are chasing, you do win money or whatever. Although I tend to just lasso them and give them to the deputies.
The first time,
I think they just shoot him on the ground or something. It's like, cheers.
Yeah, the first time I came across one of those events, I accidentally shot the deputy.
Yeah,
so it was more you running away. I went, brilliant, I'll pick off this pup.
Well, the one that I got...
Wanted level. What?
The one that took me a while to figure out was the one where they're lynching someone and you have to save them. And of course, it doesn't tell you, but it's obvious if you've seen The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, that what you have to do is shoot the rope. And then they'll fall down.
It does tell you.
Yeah, it told me when I did it.
Oh, right, I must have missed the instructions.
I saw that bit. I think I just saved him.
I think there's a bit of dialogue that your partner says.
Oh, right.
Well, I saved him in time.
Save her!
I saved him in time, and that I then unfortunately got gunned down by this angry posse who were upset that I spoilt their fun of lynching this guy. And that was it. The little side missions as well, I quite like the stranger missions.
Yeah,
they're quite fun.
Stranger missions.
Although
they're interesting.
one of the early ones where the cannibal was a bit confusing because you keep thinking that's finished and then it's not.
Oh,
you have to keep going up to Hanging Rock and you keep finding... I thought it was an error because you bump into several different people, you go up, you find a little bit of bloodstain near Hanging Rock, and then it just finishes, and then all of a sudden, you've got this cannibal turns up when you do it, and I was like,
that makes sense.
I thought that was a little bit confusing how that was done. It might have been intentionally. There's more of a... the way the mechanics of the game were laid out is like sometimes you didn't quite know what more there was as part of a stranger mission, and that was probably the point. But it's the fact that the way the game presented it to you, where it's sort of like it still appeared in your list, and it's like, oh, okay. I've got
used to the fact that these missions will string out over a period of time, and you'll re-encounter
that
guy you keep saving from shootouts. I think I've saved him from a mine. I've saved him from a gunfight somewhere else.
Yeah.
He's still not finished, so I'm assuming he'll pop up again somewhere. So.
I love that
really
first
tragic one
stranger mission that just sets the tone for the whole game, like that first Flowers for a Lady or whatever.
Yeah.
You just go in that.
I'll be honest, I still haven't finished that. Every time I go back, it's like, you've not picked enough.
That was quite late on, wasn't it? Because you would have had to have done the route from McFarlane Ranch to West Virginia, which is pointless at the start of the game.
No, because you've got thieves. You've got thieves. It's on the route to Thieves Landing,
and you have to go.
You have to go to Thieves Landing quite early.
That's true.
So yeah, he's still popping up on my radar actually.
Finish that because it's brilliant. I won't tell you what happens, but it's really
into that one.
Messed up.
It's one of those ones I keep going, yeah, I'll go back to that one later.
Yeah.
It's Flowers, it's fine.
It's not Flowers.
Yeah.
It's not a big visionary thing, it's just, it sets the tone for the whole game.
Dueling as well is a lot of fun, I've discovered.
Sorry?
Dueling.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I still haven't worked out quite what you're actually supposed to do.
Weird though, aren't they?
I thought I just about got it.
But the annoying thing was I thought I understood it, and that it was all about just you could aim where you wanted, but as long as you did it with the target at its most precise, whichever way around it is, wherever you want to go small, if you get it right, then and if you hit certain targets, then it's insta kill and it doesn't bother with the rest of the game. Like if you get your first shot with perfect accuracy on the gun, for instance,
is that how you do it?
It doesn't bother with the rest, and it just goes disarm.
That's great.
But if you miss that first shot, you're like, oh fuck! Now you're in trouble because you have to do the rest of them properly,
really fast.
No, it's not even about speed. It's about watching the crosshair, and when it's at its smallest, you hit it, and then that fills up your bar more.
Right.
And when your bar reaches the top, you shoot.
Yeah.
But it's I believe that's how it worked, because I thought that was how it worked, and I thought, oh, I can disarm people every time. But then when I thought I'd got it right, it wasn't right and wasn't happening. It's like, oh shit, so maybe this isn't how this works. So I'm still a bit...
It's getting the gun out of the holster. You generally have to just sort of keep wiggling the sticks until they eventually...
Well, yeah, that's precisely the problem. It's something to do with that meter, but I'm not entirely sure how that meter works.
No.
When it reaches the top, that's when the shot happens, but it's like... Sometimes it seems a bit...
Yeah,
like,
I have just found if I keep wiggling the analog sticks, he'll eventually start aiming, and then you've just got to mark him in the same way you do with Deadeye. That's one thing that confused me, actually, just linking there, is Deadeye, you automatically mark them up to a certain point in the game, then you meet that guy in Mexico, who teaches you how to shoot, the American guy in Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
And you then, from there on, have to manually mark them. That was ridiculous.
It
it's
feels
too
like
different.
it feels like a backwards step,
It does,
doesn't it? Because it goes from auto to manual. But to a degree, it's kind of nice because it gives you... It probably shouldn't have been an upgrade. It probably should have been an option, just in the way that Deadeye works. So you could choose to play it automatically.
It did just effectively that it was taking something back off you.
Yeah, kind of like how the auto aim has an option. I did try and play it in a while in advanced mode, which basically stops all auto aim.
Yeah.
But that's hard.
I must admit I do rely on auto aim more than I probably should.
I mean, it's the only way to do horseback fights.
Yeah, and the bit where you travel down the river to get to Mexico, you really need to use auto aim.
Yeah.
That was so frustrating. That took me about 6 attempts to do that one.
Although I did play it for a bit just to get the Chivo for get a number of headshots in advance.
So with the manual Deadeye, you can ensure that every bullet in your revolver hits a head.
Yeah.
So you can get...
It is, I am finding it more useful. It's just a really backwards way of
it's a bit strange at first. But with the old one, you kind of sweep up a body and it puts about 4 on their chest.
Yeah, that was actually annoying. As I played it with manual, I actually realised how better it was because I'd have problems where you go into Deadeye and you accidentally sweep an innocent or civilian or something. And once they're marked, I couldn't find any way without just taking your aim off. And then you take the aim off and then you just get shot to pieces.
Yeah.
But the best bit of the dueling is again with the American guy in Mexico. And you end up dueling the German guy, then having to duel somebody who's holding a hostage, and then there's a bloodbath. It just seems to be a mission where they thought they couldn't really think of much to this mission other than teach you how to play poker, and then just stick a bloodbath.
And then have a bloodbath.
It's an awesome mission, because you end up just killing like half the population of this town.
I suppose that was quite good. Yeah, I did like that, how the side things actually weaved their ways. Wove their way into actual missions, so you had to... It actually made you discover them. Rather than them just being there for no real purpose,
Yeah.
I mean, GTA 4 did that with the internet cache and things like that, where it sort of occasionally makes you to do things so you actually know that they're there.
Yeah. But then often the stuff in Red Dead I find easier to go back to them because, I never bothered with. I mean, to be fair, I think Jackie played it and she did the whole internet dating thing in GTA 4, but I never went into one of those web cafes again unless I had to for a mission.
I did do the web dating for a giggle.
It's kind of a laugh, I guess.
It is.
Yeah.
It's mainly for the incredibly cheesy bits when you take them home. And you get that typical GTA thing where it just does a sweeping shot of the building.
Oh,
with some incredibly cheesy dialogue. Especially when you get the Latina ones. And again, it's back to stereotyping again. You get,
But that was funny though, the girlfriend it gives you though in GTA 4, because the things she says are so...
Oh, she's hilarious.
Oh, the blonde lawyer one?
No. The first one that you get is the... Spoilers, the FBI agent or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that one.
So, oh, Nico, you're special.
Yes.
Tell me interesting things. That's
it.
Yes. And the way that everything in her apartment is brand new with the label still on, not suspicious at all.
Yeah.
That's quite
dedicated. The FBI clearly had cutbacks in their label removing department.
Yeah. That's quite dedicated agent work there, though.
Yeah.
Getting a nobbies.
Thanks, yeah.
I don't know.
The FBI would have been for nobbing in the line of duty.
Maybe this is a bit sexist of me, but it seems like when a man does it, you can sort of understand it, but it seems you have to be quite dedicated. For some reason, it feels like you have to be more dedicated for a lady to take a nobbing.
So it's more that the men be more
a
being
man giving a nobbing is just James Bond's way of doing things, but it's
Cox. So can we move on? I don't wish to add to that discussion.
I don't know. It just seems. I'm just saying fair play to her. Women.
You're just saying
talking about GTA, not that bit of GTA, but the linking is the improvement in the covering system. from GTA to Red Dead.
Yeah, it's
Because
better.
I hated the covering system in GTA.
Awful.
It's still not that great, though.
It's not great, but it's a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, it's better.
It made it playable. It did have a tendency for me to get attached to the wrong bit of like most cover systems. It's like, I don't want to attach to this, get the fuck off.
But the whole combat in general is better. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say the cover was massively better, but the combat in general is much improved.
Well, it's because
over
it's
GTA 4.
focused in Red Dead. It's
Yeah.
the thing. They only really had to
The
focus on
camera
pistol
angles from covering I find are better in Red Dead than GTA. What I found, especially if you're on the corner of a building in GTA, it was ridiculous camera angles, and you just go right, poke around a bit longer just to see this guy, and you turn so far, and then you'd automatically walk out of cover.
Yeah.
I like, and also the weapon selection with the wheel. I much prefer to the GTA.
Next
Scroll
weapon,
through.
next weapon, next
Yeah,
weapon.
that's a fucking nightmare. It's so much better.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully,
Does it pause in Red Dead when you select weapons? So you can do
no,
it.
it doesn't
No,
pause,
doesn't.
but you can do it really quickly. Like if you hold the direction and just click the button, it'll do it.
Once you get
Because I
used to
kinda-
it, you can.
yeah, you can do it really fast.
To a
if you need
degree.
to.
I mean, I still think that most radial menus should take a Mass Effect route and actually go to like a
Pause the game.
yeah, or at least slow
Freeze.
it down.
Yeah.
So you have time.
That's the best use of a radio menu I've come across, like, the Mass Effect.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was I played recently.
Then again, the other argument
there
is,
was
does
a
that
game
make it too easy?
There was a game on the console I played a demo for. It might be Bulletstorm actually, because most of the time you don't need it because you just use the D-pad. But I think it has a radial selection as well. And it's so, no, but then again, that sounds stupid. There is some game where it has a slowdown effect in a radial menu, and I'm like, that's a great idea because it actually gives me a time to work out where everything is based on their vague silhouettes. And
Yeah, I guess in Red Dead they already had the Deadeye, so they could have just given you some free Deadeye while you were selecting weapons.
perhaps.
Anyway.
But that could have been you could probably game that.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah,
I'm glad you're enjoying that.
Yeah, so basically,
It's one of my
to sum it
favourite
up,
games,
and,
I have to say.
it's hitting into my top 5 already. I'm enjoying it so far. I've had a bit of a break from it because I said to Rob before we were recording, the problem is you can quite easily lose 3 or 4 hours of your day playing that without realising.
I did find
Without
myself
blinking.
sat in this
So
couch for far too long on weekends.
Yeah, so that's why I started playing.
I prefer those
Assassin's Creed, to have a
because
bit of a break rather than rush through it.
they're not super rich. Like in I was already saying this before, I think on a previous podcast, but it's like once you're done with the mission, you don't feel, I'm going to stop playing now, because you can just sort of wander
It's
around.
that, one more,
piss
just one
about.
more,
Yeah,
just one more.
exactly.
2 o'clock in the morning.
It doesn't feel as pressurised as like a normal linear game,
No.
because it's like you can just dick around if you want, and then you're like,
Yeah.
well, I might as well just play this next mission, and then afterwards you're like, well, I'll just fuck around. Oh, I might as well play this next.
Yeah. You get this endless cycle, and all of a sudden it's 3
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning. You go, I'm going to be out for work in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I just went into it because I wanted to have a ride around the other day, just to remember what the world was like, and also to compare the graphics, because I'd been playing Lost and Damned and thinking this doesn't look that good now, GTA 4, and then I went back and read it. It's like, well, this still looks good, but I wanted to like ride around Mexico in the sun and see the heat haze. But of course I went in and there was a giant fuck off thunderstorm. It was amazing. Like lightning, everything
all
going.
the different weather and that, and the different things in it. It's just, it's all the attention to detail in the game that makes it so fantastic. It's
the weather and the geography is amazing.
So my dad's not that much into games. I was playing it when because I've actually had to borrow a copy of my sister to play it. I was playing it when I was down there, and my dad doesn't take much interest in games. Stood there and went, it looks alright. And that's saying something. My dad in terms of game, that's bloody impressive. He loves looking at the technical side of it. He won't play it. You go, do you want to have a go? No. But
it definitely says something. I think that they've applied the exact same formula as GTA, and yet for a game that I have gone record several times saying GTA 4 just don't like it. Don't get on with it at all. I appreciate it for being a good game, but
I never
don't like
completed
it.
Yeah.
And Red Dead turns around and says, "Well, okay, we'll take the same formula, have a go in this setting." Love it.
The setting is better because what I liked about GTA 4 was they tried to create that gritty New York City feel, and they did. But the problem is because a gritty New York City feel is blocks, like it is in most cities in the States. The routes when you're going from place to place, are incredibly boring. You didn't drive it.
It's more interesting than
before I stopped
LA. Let me tell you.
Really?
Yeah.
I did a bit of searching on it a little while back because a bit of me couldn't help but think I can't be the only one that feels this way about GTA 4.
I'm sure there are many.
So I did a bit of. There's actually, I think Games Radar share my opinion in that it's that they didn't get on with GTA 4 as much as they did the others because GTA 4 takes the step too much in the realism domain, and it's like I know that's where GTA wants to be at the moment. Because Saints Row is carving out the other niche of the insanity side.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I played the original GTAs for the insanity
Yeah.
side.
Yeah,
And it's
I
like
do.
they've gone away from that, and that's while I understand completely fantastic achievement, all the fun is gone for me, all of it.
Mm.
It's no longer entertaining, and it's like that's what I play games for fun.
I found myself getting so bored with the side stuff in the streets that you would literally, because at a certain point, if you had enough cash, you could pretty much taxi to anywhere in the game.
Could do, yeah.
And especially when you get to the point where
I
you could
enjoyed the
phone.
driving though.
I did, but again,
Personally.
I didn't like the driving mechanics.
I found it was a bit of a pain in the ass because again they went for that authentic New York realism feel. You had roads full of cars.
I could zoom down any street and I could squeeze down the tiniest gap,
could
even
too.
in those ridiculous muscle cars,
Yeah.
which are hilariously hard to drive.
Well, the problem I found it difficult to abide by the law. It was one of those driving systems where it's like,
Yeah.
shouldn't really run. You can run red lights and the cops don't care too
Yeah,
much.
they don't care about speeding or red lights, which is so good, because if they did, it would be so bad.
But there are
Yeah.
certain things you can do, and it's like, and I'm really trying to avoid this scenario here. Please don't make me do this. Oh, fuck. And
Yeah.
it's like, you're actually trying to drive normally to avoid attention, and the game just goes, nope, I'm not allowing that. Cop
Yeah.
chase.
Yeah, I found that was just. I think I used to drive on the left side of the road.
Then again,
You get a clear road, you go, right, I'm British, damn it, you go to the left side of the road, and then all of a sudden, head-on crash. Wow.
Because I do the opposite, because I've played a lot of Grand Theft Auto and I'm now learning to drive, so I just drive on the wrong side of the road in real life. It's like, yeah, fuck it. Sometimes I forget when I'm turning.
I played a lot of Grand Theft Auto before I learned to drive. I don't think I've ever driven on the right-hand side of the road.
I just drive very low.
That's quite funny.
It's when you're making a turn, a left turn or a right turn, like you're thinking about how you do it in the game, and you think, oh, because I'm turning right, I'll turn, very sharply into because I'm going from the right-hand lane into the right-hand lane, so it's a sharp turn, but of course you're actually going wide, and otherwise you're end up cutting the corner.
Yeah.
I don't do it very often, but I did at first. I was like, lol, because I was playing LA Noire at the time.
I'm sure you must have scared your driving instructor.
No.
Basically, anyone listening to Richard, anyone listening to Richard, they see a guy in a learner car driving on the side of the road, that will probably be Dan.
That'll be me. Anyway, we really need to get on to some
Let's do Deus Ex.
We do.
Yeah, is that alright, guys?
That's fine, I think I pretty much said all of it.
No, it's not alright. Fuck
Cool.
Deus Ex.
Yeah. Deus Ex Human Revolution, me and Zach have been playing it.
Yeah, and I finished it.
Do you want to go? Talk.
Okay,
I'll
is
see
it
what
worth
I
noting how far Dan has got so we can avoid
Yeah,
spoilers?
okay.
How far have?
So,
Well, do we want to do spoilers anyway? Because it's quite a new game. relatively
yeah,
speaking.
probably
But
best
it's not
not.
very long.
Avoid
Probably
spoilers.
best not to. And we don't need to, because there's enough to talk about anyway, I think.
Well,
The
I might
mechanics-
want to possibly insert one or two spoilers, but that depends on how far you got. And then I'll keep them on the minor side, even so.
Sure.
How far did you get?
I'm up to, I'm at Henshaw, and I'm about to go to Taeyong Medical, so I've done the,
You've done all the
hotel.
first set of side missions, basically.
Yeah, I've done the, sneaking out of the pod hotel thing.
Yeah.
And I've done, obviously, going up to the apartment where the hacker thingy is.
Yeah.
In the court. And I've done various side missions around, but I haven't yet gone to...
There's one thing I immediately
Taeyong
want
Medical.
to say about that stupid mission.
Which one?
The hack when you go and talk to the hacker, and then the guy's bust in, and then you have to go get out of it.
Does that happen?
Yeah, that is because you go back to him to get your card fixed up. Have you gone back to him the second time when he actually gives you the proper card?
Yeah, but it's in a different place because it's in the hotel where he gives you the card thing. But his apartment the hacker's apartment is in a different district.
Is this the bit I saw you playing? Hacker apartment.
Because you go up to the hacker apartment and the police or not the police, the bell tower guys, they're already there.
This is the bit I saw you playing.
And you just knock them out, and then you go into his little hacker room, which the wall's been busted in. But
no, not that one. When you actually meet the hacker.
Yeah, that's in the... I haven't gone back to him.
You haven't gone back?
I've gone to him the first time, and then they've busted in. The police are there.
So that is the first time. I thought that was the second time. Because you have to go to him, and then he tells you to go and steal that guy's car, and then you go and get the car, and then you take it back to him, and then the police bust in.
No, I did it differently, because obviously I'd got that car first.
You just casually broke in and stole his shit anyway.
I did, yeah. So I was like, dude, I've already got the card, and he's like, oh, cool. That's how it went down for me. That's why we were confused, because I only had to get there once, because I'd already busted in and got that guy's thing, even though I didn't know I needed to.
I love that about
fucking love Deus Ex.
That's
so dumb.
When it does
genius.
When it does that and the game caters for it,
Yeah.
it's brilliant.
It's not really catering for it. It's like there was one that I did do accidentally that I'd heard someone else said about it as well. One of the first side mission in Hampshire where you have to rescue like the prostitute or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you just walk around and find the place without going to the guy and asking and saying where might they be holding it,
because I asked him.
If you just go there by yourself, because I get that side mission and it's the first time I've been to HR, so I just go to explore.
Yeah.
And then I just stumble across it anyway, and it's like, oh, this is that side mission. So you can, and then when you go in there and talk to the woman, he's like, she's like, how did you find me? He's like, I'm persistent. I guess I just walked around a lot.
I just found these guys in this alley. They look like bad guys, so I beat the shit out of them. And then I rescued you.
So what do you actually think of it then? Like,
okay.
Because, is it as small a step from the original as it sounds?
Well, okay, I really like it. It feels like Deus Ex, which in itself is an amazing achievement, I think. Because, I mean, how do you capture...
It's not an amazing achievement.
It is.
They made exactly the same fucking game!
Well,
they didn't actually do any work!
But that is absolute total bollocks, because it's completely... It's not the same at all.
It is!
No.
Exactly.
Not at all. It's not the same.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm
same?
thinking they might be disagreeing.
It's like the only thing they added a cover mechanic, which is actually awesome because
the cover
obviously first-person shooting is retarded if you're just going to stand and shoot each other.
The cover stuff's great.
And then they've added like these weird, stupid cinematic takedowns, which are dumb in their own way.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like those.
I quite like the non-lethal takedowns.
Well, I'm not saying that they don't look. Fine.
They look cool.
Okay, unless you're clicking through the scenery or whatever.
I have problems with the hard cut and the fact that they happen in a different place to where you do it sometimes.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed that different place thing happen.
Yeah, we saw it.
But the main problem...
It happens mainly if you're doing two at once, I think.
Because it has to make space.
Yeah, so that's slightly different. So I've only just got that upgrade. So.
But of course the main problem with them is it just pauses the fucking game world, which is just dumb!
Oh, what, so you can do it and no one will turn around?
Like, I ran up to two guys because I thought I was going to do a double takedown. When I pushed the button, I only did one. So I'm doing the animation taking down this one guy, and his friend is standing there, frozen, with his gun pointing at me while this animation is taking place. He's just standing there in the background.
And then it ends and he immediately kills you.
No.
In fairness, Deus Ex
You
isn't...
take more damage than that.
Not very much.
In fairness, Deus Ex isn't the only game where ever do that.
Yeah, well, no, but it's still dumb.
Assassin's Creed has that same problem where you could be mid-countering someone, and some of the counter animations are quite slow. Like, you'll stare at someone, you'll go, blat, and then it's like, oh, my sword's stuck. And I'll get it out a little bit. And while you're doing that, no one decides to attack you. They just stand there going...
That's that standard Hollywood thing, isn't it? Where all the bad guys will take you on, one at a time.
Yeah. Is there's like
Form an orderly queue, please, gents.
A gentlemanly fighting agreement.
But is the game literally paused, or do they just not attack you?
No, it's not paused. They just don't.
Yeah, because in Deus Ex it literally paused.
No,
like, if a grenade has been thrown under you and you're doing an animation, it won't go off. It'll just let you finish.
I haven't really noticed it. I mean, it's quite subtle. Unless there's someone with a gun in your face.
I mean, Assassin's Creed goes to the point where you can see it, like, not happening. You know, even if they have launched an attack, if you're mid-counter, it can't hit you.
Oh, right.
Which looks weirder.
Yeah, I guess so.
Places. So you get like a blade go through you, or a grab. Often it's the grabs that fail. They'll reach for you and you'll be mid-counter and they'll just go, touch your face.
I had an interesting glitch on that where I was countering someone to kill, but they got shoved by another one of them. And they pushed him up so the sword didn't go through properly, and the guy was still alive at the end of the animation, despite the load of blood went everywhere.
I didn't fucking mention this. I have to bring it up because it's amazing. Friendly fire totally exists in Assassin's Creed, and when it happens, it's amazing. I managed to push someone in the line of an archer's arrow, and it killed them.
Wow.
That's fucking awesome.
That's cool.
Oh, no, I've not had that happen, actually.
It was doing the end bit when there's quite a few archers about, and it was just like I just pushed a guy in the middle of it into
I'm going to be spending a
his
lot
way,
of time
and the
trying
archer
to do
was like, That's awesome.
I did have a glitch sort of like that in Deus Ex where I started doing a takedown, but I'm not sure what happened, but the guy's model somehow got off-centered, so it's like I was grabbing midair and his head was like 2 feet to the left, and it was doing his animation separately to my one, and it's like, oh man, that's fucked.
That's awesome.
So I think I'm not sure about. I like.
But anyway,
I like
as you were saying, they made the same fucking game.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
It's very different. It certainly didn't have those in the first game.
No,
it's
they
It's
didn't,
much
but-
more modern and up to date. In that
But no
respect.
melee weapons is dumb, and the
Why?
augmentation
That is
system
dumb.
is dumb.
Why do you need the melee weapons when you've got the takedown?
Because the takedowns are dumb.
they're
I would have
good.
preferred just to hit people sometimes.
No, it's way cooler to have that awesome animation of the takedown.
Or I would have preferred a
Makes
shorter
a lot more
animation,
sense.
maybe.
You
Or
know,
something.
surely it's going to get old after a certain
It's
point.
not that long. And they're different. Like, it's not like one animation each time. And it is funny when he taps someone on the shoulder and goes, "Ooh," he goes, BAM! And they just not completely.
Actually, yeah,
over the
I
ball.
don't think I'd ever get tired of that.
Yeah,
That's almost like British comedy,
cool.
takedown, isn't it?
And I think you'd find it more annoying if it didn't pause the game. I know it's
Well,
a bit
yeah.
weird, but I consider it to be a bit like in Burnout when you do a takedown, but then just after it you're invulnerable for like half a second. It's basically the same kind of thing.
Well, except the reason for that in Burnout is because it's reorientating the camera, and you'll
Yeah.
likely run into
Your
something.
situational awareness is fucked.
Whereas in
Yeah.
Deus Ex, you've just had this giant padding screen where you can see everything around you.
That's why I kind of think
Yeah,
it might
but-
have been better without the takedown animations, except perhaps for the double takedown. That probably makes sense in the doubles.
Yeah.
But for the single, what exactly is wrong with just a backstab or something like that?
Or the first-person animation. They didn't have to kick you to third person every time.
because I think the game is overly keen on switching to third person.
Yeah.
I really like the cover of switching to third person.
Well,
I haven't had any
that's the only way
problems.
it could have worked.
I,
You can't have first-person cover. That would have been dumb.
I haven't been disoriented at all by going in and out of cover. I find it just like in Rainbow Six. It's not even. It doesn't even have much of a pause in between. It's like instant when you
Well,
release
yeah.
the button. I prefer having it on hold
No, I had that bit on clip.
rather than the toggle because I find it much better.
It's like how I have to have crouch on toggle in third-person games.
Well, that's on toggle by default, isn't
Yeah,
it? In
but
this
I have to have the cover on toggle as well.
No, my problem with the takedowns isn't the animation or anything like that or the pausing the game. My problem initially was that it takes an energy.
Well, yeah, that is the other
bloody-
problem.
that is more important. Come on, that is weird.
Well, it depends what else you're using the energy for. I didn't
Yeah.
use any energy virtually the entire game.
Yeah,
the only
energy
figures I was using it for. was
Sorry, I
the
missed
takedown.
that. To do
Okay,
what,
so the whole energy system, I think, is
retarded.
retarded. Okay, so you have a number of batteries which you can upgrade the number of using, and you can also upgrade the speed at which a battery recharges. Okay, but when you use a whole battery, apart from your first battery, as in the last one, it never recharges unless you eat some Mars bars. so basically, say you have, and also doing a takedown takes a whole battery. Right?
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, that
Which
didn't-
took me a while to work out at first, because at first, when you're not augmented, it takes ages to recharge even the first battery.
Mm.
So you can't just take down one person and then take down another one, because you're tapping Q and it's going, you can't do that, and you're like, oh fuck! Amount of times.
Back to
Well,
the
that's because
shitty
you're not
batteries
meant-
again.
That's because the takedowns aren't meant to be a fast thing.
I know.
Which is one of the other problems.
But you could do it if you ate a Mars bar. You could do
Well, yeah.
do them quickly.
Wait,
one
that
after
doesn't
the
make
other.
sense because the takedowns are not really augmentation.
Why do they use
based.
energy?
Yeah.
I
Because it
don't-
uses your awesome arms.
But I don't agree
Some of
with
them,
that.
some of them
Pirate-
are a bit
pirate-
like punch you out
They're
in
like
one
pirate
punch.
arms. then.
Because it's
Or like break your fucking arm with my.
But surely you could, like, some of these augmentations, like, you know, just
Well,
shouldn't really be like a special.
if we're talking about that issue, you might as well go on
Hang
to
on.
mention that why can't he sprint for more than 2.5 seconds
That's
when he's got fucking robo legs?
Yeah, that's
That is
Let's
ridiculous.
fucking concentrate on the battery situation. So what? Let's just talk about the implications of this. Like, it means that normally, say you have the cloaking device, if you eat a Mars bar, you've got 2 energy cells. You activate cloaking. You walk straight up to a guy who's looking right at you. He can't see you, and then you press Q. It takes him down, right? But if you only had one battery and you hadn't eaten that Mars bar, then you activate cloaking. You go up to him. You press takedown. Oh no, you haven't got a battery. You can't take him down, and then only that first one regenerates by itself.
Yes, you can. It's the problem with it is that you can only, if you're not eating these Mars bar things, you only ever get one back.
Yeah.
So, and one limit, because the takedown uses the whole one, you can't do anything else leading up to a takedown.
Leading up to it, and so
that's dumb.
and no
I don't like
matter
that.
no matter how much you upgrade yourself, you can't ever get it to regenerate more than the first battery, which would be an obvious augmentation.
Yeah.
Or the only ones you can get are faster recharge, which is really helpful if you just
Plus
keep.
recharge with that one.
Yeah, so you just use that one over and over again, which is extremely helpful. And the other one is just adding more batteries, so that if you eat more Mars bars, you then have a stock. Well, they're called slow boost energy bars, but they're quite rare, annoyingly.
Well, here's the other thing that I found annoying about the energy bars. It's the classic inventory size issue, where if you find these singular bars, you get like one bar which fills one energy cell, and you can stack 5 of those. If you find the box of energy bars that replenishes 2 cells, they take up 2 slots in your inventory, and you can only stack 3 of them, so that you only get 6 energy bars in a space that you could be carrying 10.
So a whole box of energy bars.
Yeah.
Only contains 2 energy bars.
And it's much more inefficient space-wise in your inventory per energy cell.
Man, I have to give credit to the marketing guys who came up with that shit in the future. It's like, have a box of Mars bars.
But it's
now
worse.
with 2 Mars bars.
It's worse when you get to the energy tubs, which are 2 by 2 in your inventory, and they only refill 3 cells.
And the thing is, like from a world standpoint or a law standpoint or whatever, the bioelectric cells in the first game made a lot more sense than fucking Mars bars.
Well, it is explained in the codex or whatever, where it's it uses your literal digestion as a biomechanical system to recharge the cell. It's like, okay, that sort of makes sense. Rather than just having a battery that you somehow jam into your face.
That was dumb. But the thing is, in the first game, I only ever used the the mechanic bots to replenish my bioelectric. That's the thing. In the first game, you were complaining about the augments, and I
also.
Okay, hang on. Let's do the inventory first. Okay.
Okay.
So in the first game, you didn't have to stack ammo for your guns. If you had a pistol, you could pick up as much pistol ammo as you liked.
There was a limit, though, wasn't there?
There was a limit, but it didn't take up any more space.
No, it didn't take up literal inventory squares.
In this game, you could fill your inventory with pistol ammo, couldn't you? Because you can have more than one. So pistol ammo takes up 2 slots, but that only goes up to 50 bullets.
All the ammo takes up 2 slots.
Yeah, but then you could have another 2 slots filled up with another 50 bullets. So that way you could have tons of bullets if you wanted.
Well, that's actually good. Sort of.
No, that's okay.
I
just wish it didn't take up so much space, if you know what I mean.
Well, the thing is, you can now upgrade your storage space.
Well, you pretty much have to.
Which I haven't done yet, but now you can unlock more slots. But
if you want to carry a rocket launcher, you have to.
But it makes it really fiddly, because it's like, there's shotgun shells here. Oh, no, there's no point picking those up, because I haven't got a shotgun.
Well, yeah. You basically have to decide what weapons you're using, and then never pick up ammo for the other ones.
Yeah, but you have to be quite careful not to pick up. It's like, loot! Oh, no, I better not.
Yeah, but that's the whole problem with the loot in this game, is that there is no loot that you care about. It's like, once you've got whatever guns you're using, and basically full ammo for all of them before the start of a mission, you never need to go and look, because all you're going to get is the occasional weapon upgrade, but then it's just like, the weapon upgrades are always pointless, because they don't actually do very much, apart from the special upgrades that are specific to each gun.
Cool. Like the aim enhancer for the tranquilizer gun is kind of handy and stuff.
The special ones.
But you still have to drop shit so that you can pick up the freaking weapon.
They should have made it so that you could use them from the ground.
I know, that's the same as happened in the first game.
But in the first game, they were only 1 square.
That's true. Now they're like 4 squares, so you have to drop your combat rifle if you want to pick up and then you might want to use that on your combat rifle.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck!
That is the problem.
Rage comic. Basically.
But you do have to upgrade that inventory if you want to carry anything.
Yeah,
it's such a
true.
Tiny fucking... And the rocket launcher is gigantic!
In the first game, the rocket launcher was the first thing I got off my brother, and I kept it for the whole game, and I could still... But this, it's like, no way can I carry this bloody thing. And I don't know, presumably you need it for the...
Basically the dumb thing is, if you take the rocket launcher, as I discovered, taking the rocket launcher is actually really a dumb idea.
Yeah.
Because, I did use it on the first boss, but that's because the bosses are dumb, which is another problem. In itself.
Okay, so I can unreservedly say I think everyone who loves Deus Ex and has played this game hates the bosses.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely right.
They were always shit in the first one.
They were shit in the first one.
And they're still shit.
But the thing is, in the first
one... But they're shit in a different way.
Someone made a good...
A different kind of shit.
Someone made a good point.
Now it's ghost poo.
In the first game, the boss fights were terrible because they were just a guy sort of running around
backwards and forwards
shooting,
and shooting.
which is surprisingly quite similar to what they are
Yeah.
now. But in the first game, the bosses were characters that actually meant something. Like Anna Navarra was a bitch,
Yeah.
and you had 3 opportunities to kill her before you had to fight her,
Yeah.
which you could have just done, which was amazing.
It gave you options
Yeah.
to avoid that boss fight, which you don't get.
Which you don't get.
It's like you walk into a room and it's like, oh look, there's a guy here. Well, fuck.
And like the guy that you fight, the boss, who is that guy? Like he's just some dude.
Well, he's the guy who fucked you up right at the start.
No, it isn't. That's the
Yeah,
guy
it
that
is.
gets in the lift, isn't it? The guy you fight is just some.
No, because he throws you for a wall because he's all augmented.
Oh right, yeah, maybe. Oh, I'm confused.
But that
Sorry,
video
Ross.
sequence is a video sequence, so it looks completely different to the game, which
Yeah,
doesn't help.
That's another thing. Pre-rendered Batman style in-game engine, but recorded.
But it's Square. That's where Square came in
Yeah.
in this equation.
Which they would do that because they don't need to. Because there are some sequences that are in engine that are quite cinematic and they look great.
Yeah, in Batman it doesn't make a lot of sense. It made some sense in like the opening scene where he was like traveling in the
Yeah, that
car
was
and stuff.
fine.
But
When you're in the literal modelled area of the game,
Yeah.
and you just transition to a cutscene, which
is
looks-
made using the game.
the game.
And you're like, why didn't we just see it using the game? Because
I mean,
there
are
are
they
some
finding a
games
load time or something? I mean,
that does happen. Sometimes
Not
they
in
use a
Deus
video
Ex, really.
sequence to. Bulletstorm I think does that in a couple of places where they use. Oh no, it doesn't because Bulletstorm has loading pauses anyway. I think there are games where you're right where it uses a video sequence to mask a transition because there's a loading pause happening underneath. However, a good example of how not to do it is Psychonauts. Going back to this,
Yeah.
watching 9 play, where when you enter a level, for some reason it switches to a video sequence of you entering someone's head. Now this has the same thing that you're talking about here. That video sequence is done entirely in the game engine, but the video quality, especially on first gen Xbox, is god awful compared to how the game actually looks.
Yeah.
And you're just like, why? Just it would have taken up more disk space putting the video there than it would have done to program the fucking sequence, which you've done.
And with Deus Ex, it's like, look at my awesome computer. Look how amazing this game looks in engine. Oh wait, now you transition to a cutscene which has really badly compressed
And it's weirdly like glowy
and weirdly lit
blurred.
differently from the game for no
Wait,
reason.
so it's not even got Square's level of polish.
Well, it's fine.
Well, maybe.
It's fine. It just looks. It just seems unnecessary to me. But I don't know. Whatever.
So anyway, back to the rocket
What?
launcher.
So the rocket launcher.
Well, it's like, so as I discovered, you pick up the rocket launcher and you're like, yeah, fuck, I mean, obviously, rocket launcher, robots and shit,
Yeah.
you need to destroy them. But the trouble is that the robots die if you hit them with one EMP grenade.
Do they die?
Yeah, they just explode!
Because in the
Every robot, even the huge ones, you just put
Really?
the EMP grenade next to them and they're like, self-destruct.
didn't know
It's
that.
like, well, fuck!
Because
Rocket
they-
launcher totally pointless.
Wasn't the first one just disabled them for
Yeah.
a while, which made sense because it's an EMP,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So EMP grenades
Well,
are instant
hang on,
death
hang on.
for robots.
Yeah. So you
Oh,
don't,
yeah, but I thought
you
EMP in real life actually did sort of like.
well, I mean,
like
admittedly,
murder chips.
Yeah.
since this is a
Yeah.
prequel, the robots are obviously less EMP shielded in this one.
That maybe, yeah, that's true. Still,
But yeah, so
They kinda
basically,
look cool.
it's like in the space of the rocket launcher that's like 4 by 12 or something, you can
Yeah.
store about 500 EMP grenades and just fucking chuck them
Yeah.
and have the same effect.
Good to
Yeah.
know.
So
Okay.
yeah, don't
Top
pick up
tip.
the rocket launcher.
Top tip, listeners.
so
And also later on in the game, this isn't really a spoiler, you
Yeah.
get a laser rifle.
yeah.
And the laser rifle disables any mechanical thing with just like a half a second of a shot. It's a continuous beam, so you just go across the camera and it blows up.
Oh, that sounds useful.
And that's smaller than the rocket launcher.
Because you can't disable cameras now because you haven't got multi-tool.
You can.
Unless you get to how do you
If
disable?
you use the stun gun, you can just temporarily disable them.
Oh really? I tried.
Yeah, that electric gun disables electronics.
Ah.
You can disable like one laser beam and a laser grid by shooting at the port it comes out of. It's super
I
awesome.
thought I'd try that. I'll try that again because that sounds good. Because when I was escaping from the hotel bit, the pod hotel, there was a bit with a camera and a guy who was, and I could take him out, but then the camera would immediately
yeah.
spot the body, and he never walked out of the zone of
Yeah.
the camera, and the camera didn't even turn. And I was like, how am I supposed to get this
Find the
guy?
scoop guns.
Well, I couldn't find it. Yeah, but anyway, so the orientations. Okay.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying about. I agree with you about the fact that you don't have to choose.
Yeah.
Is a bit. Well, you do have to choose, and you don't have to choose because you have to choose what to spend your points on. But the thing is, you get like a menu, like it tells you everything that you
you
could
could
ever
possibly
get,
have.
and then you can just
so there's no surprises.
no. But surprising that how it works. You might not be as described, but or you might not know the situations where you might want to use these. But in a way, it's kind of cool because you're like, oh, what shall I work towards? And I kind of
there's no working towards it though.
Though.
Most of the interesting ones, like the fall system and the explosive system, you just pay 2 and you have it.
Yeah, but what?
Most of those don't have a following tree to make it more interesting.
Quite a few of them have upgrade trees.
Yeah, but not the ones that are interesting to start with, like the falling system or the typhoon system. That gets a range upgrade. But
tell me about the I haven't bought the falling system, the Icarus landing system. But if you upgrade all the way down the legs tree, you get like fall silently from any height.
Yeah.
Does that do the same effect?
No. That when it says fall silently, that means you don't make a noise on impact. That doesn't mean you don't die on it.
Oh, okay. So you need both to not die and have a silent landing.
Well, except the Icarus makes a fuck ton of noise as well. So if you've triggered the Icarus, you're still going to make a load of noise when you land.
Really?
So you said the landing system is called Icarus, really. Does that imply that it works when you're not near any source of heat?
Otherwise it's like a moth and just gets attracted to the flames.
You fall down and then suddenly go whoop.
It's like, oh, situating. Woof.
Don't fly near a sun and you'll be caught.
Is that cool then, the Icarus landing system?
Not really. It's like it saves you time in like Hengsha if you don't want to climb a lot of stairs. You can just jump off the top of a building and get back to street level.
So anyway, I agree that not having to choose, being forced to choose, isn't as cool. In a way. But I think in general the augmentation systems are much better because there are a lot of augments in the first game that I never ever used.
Yeah, but the ones in this game, there's not enough of them. There's no choice. It's like you can't not have the Icarus landing system and have something else in your back slot because there's no choice. And there's no like.
Yeah, but you could choose to upgrade something else instead.
Yeah, but you get so many points.
But I haven't got that far. I haven't got that many points.
I think what Zac's saying that towards it's one of those games that you don't make a hard decision like you did in the original, where it's like you have when you pick an augmentation, that's it.
Yeah,
you've got that.
You've not committed to your character or whatever.
Yeah, you can because
you get enough points in the end to just get everything.
Because there's one tree and you can visit every part of that tree, provided you can find the points. Which is it's kind of like, if you make a mistake, I suppose it's forgiving, but I kind of. Yeah, I see what's I kind of miss it ruins the replay, I think, slightly.
So maybe they could have fixed the whole thing just by making points twice as rare.
Well, yeah, but then you'd have another problem where you'd feel like you're limited, and but then again, that's sort of tempered by the fact that you can just save and then try out the new thing, and then be like, can I use this? And you just reload and get your points back.
Well, maybe points should have just been rarer there, because I found them quite rare so far, because I haven't got. But if you really get enough to buy everything by the end, then
it depends how you're playing, I guess. It's like I didn't put any points in Cloak the entire game because I've
just bought all the Cloak for interest.
So I mean, Cloak is quite expensive in terms of points because that's actually quite a long tree.
That's 4 points, or whatever. Because there's the first, which costs 2, and then plus 2 upgrades.
Yeah, so I never used. I guess I never used Cloak, so I didn't spend any points on that. But then I didn't use any of the. I didn't have any of the skin upgrades for ages until I just had tons of points. And I was like, well, I might as well be more damage resistant then for the occasional times when I actually get in a fight or for bosses.
Yeah.
So I just had tons of points sitting around, and I was like, well, I don't want any of this shit. I don't even want the Icarus landing system. It's dumb. It's useless. There's one place in the game where it's specifically set up for you to use it, and it's totally useless to use it there.
I want to quickly come back to I think is the key point about this game. Yeah, the game is good. I think we're all agreed on that.
It's good, but it's not as good as people say it is.
No, it has its flaws.
PC gamers are wearing rose-tinted glasses on top of rose-tinted augmented eyes.
PC Gamer UK are not what they once were.
No,
I'm sorry.
And yet they still gave it a 94.
Yeah, but they're not.
But they're not even the same guys, and they still gave it a ridiculous score.
But if Kieran Gillen or whoever it was that I think he reviewed the first one, if he was reviewing this, I wouldn't have thought he would have given it.
Their review is bullshit. I think that's widely known.
I haven't read it. I mean, it might be entertaining. I mean, the first Deus Ex review is kind of a classic piece of gaming literature, isn't it?
Yeah. It's no Texas Angry Houses, though.
No, that's absolutely classic.
That's literally
I'd love for it.
No, but the point I was... okay, I thought my phone was ringing there. The point I was going to make is that my brain can't remember the point.
It's getting hot in here.
It is getting hot in her.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's shorts.
Yeah, shorts. Shorts are the way. And the sun has gone in, so we might be okay. for a little while in this oven.
Words.
Yeah, I'm stalling to try and find the words. Wait.
Deus Ex.
They'll come to it. It's Deus Ex related. Wait. Fuck it, carry on. I'll come back.
The visual. Oops. I hope that didn't sound too weird. The visual style, the black and gold isn't as impressive as you think.
I've got it.
He hasn't got it.
Whatever it is, don't give it to us.
No, the point is, do you think that we've been misled by the marketing somewhat? Because the marketing for me was all very much like, you can enter this scenario in a number of different ways. Yet from what I've seen, and from what Zac has told me, and to a degree from what you've said today, there is one way to approach the situation. You have to stealth it.
You don't have to.
You can't really run and gun it. You just don't get enough health.
No, you don't.
Die.
No, but you can.
And the enemies are dumb, but they're also dumb in such a way as to make it really hard. Like, as soon as you trigger an alarm, all of them just start charging to where the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether they can actually see you at the time.
And from what I've seen, they have ludicrous accuracy.
Well,
but that's
more of a matter of you not having very much health. They don't have to hit you very much.
It's not really a choice of run and gun or stealth, because you're not seeing.
No, it's just stealth. That's my point.
No, you're not seeing the shades in the stealth. Like, there's a million different ways that you. Not a million, but there are a lot of different paths in which you could stealth. There are different ways you could approach the stealth thing. Like, you could do it in such a way that you knock out every guard. You could do it in such a way that you ignore every guard. You could take a path underground. You could take a path overground.
But this is precisely my point, in that it's mismarketed really badly, in the sense that I was going into this thinking, oh, actually, no, maybe this is a game a bit more like the first one, in the sense that you could approach most scenarios in a manner of your choosing.
Yeah.
The run and gun is a choice, and they have advertised it as a choice. Well, no, it's not a choice, because you die the immediate you try it.
I don't know. I've done my way through whole areas with a combat rifle.
The AI is, like, designed to patrol and discover bodies. It's not designed to get into a combat situation. They just, like, queue up and, like...
And you can just murder them all in a row.
Yeah.
And I'm not convinced by it.
I mean, your health is only such that it's like playing Gears of War on hardcore or whatever. It's like you die quite quickly, but you can run and gun because you have the cover system. You can run and gun through a whole area quite easily.
But the health gen's not nearly as generous as it is in those games.
No, it's pretty slow as well.
You do have to kind of run and hide, yeah.
You can just start drinking beers or
yeah, but
beers.
If you could augment yourself so you had this aim stability and the
yeah, but the aim stability is dumb as well, because most of the guns you're using get the laser sight, and that just negates the entire aim stability augmentation.
Yeah, but if you could run around with it, because you run quite fast, so with a combat rifle you could actually run around, and couldn't you? And
yeah, but that gets a laser sight as well.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I can't help but feel like
it's another augmentation that's entirely pointless.
I can't help but feel it's not what it sort of made itself out to be.
Well, you haven't tried.
Well, I think it should.
I've seen Zac play it, and from what I've seen, as soon as any kind of alerted situation hits, you're like dead, and it's like, well, that's not combat.
Well, you die quite fast, but you can run around, especially with the sprint function.
It's like playing Call of Duty against someone you can't see.
Unless you upgrade that as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like upgrading the sprint is like so many goddamn points, and it's like that should be like one upgrade.
Yeah, but if you're not doing the stealth upgrades, then you could just use it all on sprint.
Yeah, but I don't want to use it on shitty sprint.
Well, don't play combat then.
Well, I wasn't. I was playing stealth.
I know.
So I had nothing to upgrade.
You have no frame of reference about playing it. Because you totally can't play combat.
No, you can't though, because Zac's point is that the augmentations for combat are shit.
They're not,
they're like,
as you say, buy them.
A sprint that's 2 seconds long is shit in any game.
Yeah, but that comes by default.
But then you make it 4 seconds long, and that's still shit.
But it doesn't work like a normal game. Like, when you run out of sprint, you can immediately use it again, because as it goes up...
Well, not immediately, because it recharges.
Yeah, but it recharges it starts recharging instantly, and you can keep using it even if it hasn't filled up to the top.
Use it in little bursts.
So you can go like this. So it's kind of cool. You can quite run almost an infinitely long way.
But of course, I never had to run, so...
But that's completely detached from what sprinting really is. Sprints are like, you can sprint for at least 10... Most people could sprint for at least 10 seconds.
And those guys don't have robo legs.
Yeah, a normal person could sprint for 10 seconds... Well, I wouldn't say easily. It's quite, sprinting is kind of a...
But can they sprint silently?
But can they sprint carrying a rocket launcher or something?
I feel not having video
somewhere on their person.
I feel everybody's missing out having not seen Dan's impression of sprinting.
Yeah.
It's my silent sprinter. It's my character. He's the silent sprinter. That's what I call him now. So yeah.
And as usual, the infantry is totally like, where the fuck is it? When he's actually wearing the trench coat, it's like maybe he's got them stashed in there. But when he's taking the trench coat off, it's like, where are all these guns coming from?
The character design I like. Okay, so he is kind of a stupid
generic guy.
He's a caricature of a Deus Ex protagonist.
Yeah,
but he's still cool. I like the way he looks. I like the way he talks. I like his shades.
Extremely gruff voice.
I like his voice.
It had the classic problem for me that in the classic conversation system problem of like, you pick an option and you think it's going to be one thing and he says it totally different. Where it's like, suddenly he's really angry and I'm like, what? That's not what I meant for him to say.
Yeah.
That looked like a sort of like reconciliation option, and yet he's suddenly like, oh, it's your fault, motherfucker!
Yeah, you have to be. It's got a kind of Mass Effect-y wheelie situation going on with like charm. Well, sometimes persuade or whatever.
And that fucking augmentation that just lets you hack the speech
hack people.
That's just dumb.
It's funny though. It's not as good.
Most of the time, I didn't even use it. I just like looked at the persuasion meter, and it was like, I can just win this by choosing the right option,
by persuading,
rather than just going, "Ding, you're going to agree with me now."
Yeah.
Although there is one guy in the game who's like, you use that on him, he's like, that will work on me. I know what you're doing, fucker. And it's like, you think in a world where everyone has these augmentations, that everyone would have the thing that prevents them from getting that done to them.
I don't know.
It's like your fucking boss. The fucking boss of your entire corporation, you go up and talk to him, and you can use that on him. He literally gave you that augmentation to let you fuck with it.
Yeah, that's true. It is quite funny. And he's quite a funny guy to like persuade. I quite like David Sarif. He's quite a cool character. And but like otherwise, the general characters, the acting is really quite bad in a lot of places.
And the animation for it.
The animation is well. The thing is that like I'm.
That's another thing where this is just Deus Ex 1 again. They literally have it's almost exactly the same shitty animations of them after going.
The thing is that L.A. Noire looks so good.
Yeah.
L.A. Noire looks so good that like even if they did really well, it wouldn't be because I'm just once I discovered that I could press spacebar to like skip dialogue.
Yeah.
Then and I have the subtitles on, which I think are on by default.
Yeah.
Then
just read it
I just read it. I just read it and I ignore their faces now because it's just not worth it.
They don't have faces to read.
If it was L.A. Noire, but style, it would be amazing, of course. But you can't do everything, especially at this stage of technology. Like it's it's going to be a couple of years before that tech is in every game or whatever, and they had to concentrate on what they were doing. But yeah, stylistically, I like that pistol. It looks cool when he pulls it out with the silencer on it.
I think it looks a bit fat. Once you've got all the attachments on it, like silencer and laser scope.
It's cool. It's a cool gun, and it's satisfying to use.
It's like the first pistol you get, and there's no choice. It's like it's the only pistol.
It's way cooler than the stealth pistol from the first game. That was
like
a weird.
It was kind of funny. It was like a weird
love thing. Yeah, I prefer the awesome new pistols.
It's just a pistol.
I know, but it's cool. It's like gold.
The revolver is cooler, apart from I never use that.
Yeah.
Because by the time you get to pick up a revolver, well, yeah, that's the other. But by the time you get to pick up a revolver, you've already committed to the pistol, and you can't use the inventory space because you're running out of inventory space.
Oh, it even had a classic when you go to the hacker. It even had a classic Deus Ex 1. Take my pistol.
That was the worst thing. That was the worst thing. I went up there, and he's like, "You got to help me, man. Give me a gun." It's like. Yeah, the choices are pistol or assault rifle. I've upgraded both of those. I'm like, well, I guess you don't get anything then.
Well, that's what I did to Gunther Hermann in the first game. It's only the first mission, but it's like, nope, you're not having my pistol.
But that was like, this is another thing where they've just made the exact same fucking game.
Yeah, but that was
literally hitting. Yeah, but everything in this game is a fucking reference.
No,
There's a fucking basketball hoop where you really badly physically throw a fucking basketball at it.
That's a reference. And
everything is a reference. They made the same game.
No, they haven't.
You go to the Asian city and you meet a guy whose second name is Tong.
Yeah, but the Asian city is way cooler than Hong Kong.
I'm not sure I've ever heard Zac get that hated on the podcast.
No,
the Asian city looks way cool. I thought it would be dumb having the double layer city.
You don't notice it most of the time.
And it looks cool when you look at it.
Wow, the sky is brown.
It's cool. I like Hengsha. I think to try, I didn't like as much, but hub world wise, the Hengsha is really cool. I like the way it looks.
All of the 2 hub worlds that you get.
Are they the only 2?
Yeah.
Well, Hengsha is cool. It's got loads of areas.
What it was.
Okay. You go back to Detroit.
Yeah.
Oh, good, because I haven't done much there.
And what's the surprise? It gets more fucked up.
Oh, cool.
Never would have guessed.
Okay.
With all these riots going on.
No change from normal day then.
No,
Yeah.
it's basically Detroit now is exactly the same. Obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like you go to Asia, you meet the guy called Tong.
I know, but his first name's Tom.
No, his
Tom
first name
Tom.
isn't Tong because he's Asian, so it's backwards.
Tom.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
His last name becomes his first name because of the English
Yeah.
translation.
Oh, yeah. Is he related to Trace Tom?
Spoilers, yes.
Oh.
Like you're doing this, you go on like a vision for him, and then you see his son appears, and he jumps on a boat, and the boat's name is the Tracer.
Oh,
It's
great.
like, for fuck's sake!
That is retarded. I even get freaked out because I hear the
Deus Ex music.
enemy alerted Deus Ex music on radios.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh god, am I being chased? No, wait, that's the first game.
The guy in the street whistling the Deus Ex tune.
Put on the church going open fights and conspiracies.
Yeah, exactly.
And level abilities.
Goddamn,
Pick
same exact
rifles
thing.
or computers.
I was-
Exploding.
Another slight spoiler. I was incredibly surprised that you didn't end up breaking out of a secret facility under your
Under your own
company
base.
headquarters.
Yeah.
I guess you do technically go into that lab area, but that's right at the start of
That's
the
at
game.
the start. Yeah. That first bit is quite Mass Effect 2-ish. That
Yeah.
first breakout sequence.
because of the aesthetic. Like
Yeah.
the weird like white and red lab aesthetic.
It looks like the what's the Cerberus?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
the
the
Cerberus
initial
colours.
service. But you.
Yeah, it does. And also, it did not leave a good first impression, that game. It freaked me out when it started, because it starts on rails, and then doesn't
Oh
it?
right, I
Yeah.
see what you mean.
And I'm like,
Where you're
what are
walking
you
and looking
doing?
around.
This is a Deus Ex game. What are you doing? And then, and then the first shooty bit or whatever, you can't highlight things because you're not augmented.
Yeah, because you're not.
You can't look at things and they don't say chair or whatever like they did in the first game.
Yeah.
But then, of course, that comes in later. And, of course, you can't quite look at things like chair. It no longer says chair. Although,
I don't see why it doesn't though.
I know.
It's like everything should be throwable.
like, there's less...
All you get is crates.
There's less sort of
Random shit.
things in the world interactivity. It's still there,
Pick
but you
up
can't just go
random
light
shit.
switch, click, or whatever. Or draw individual drawers, or...
You get like one drawer in a desk that you
Yeah,
can search
that
for
you can
stuff.
open. Yeah. It's not quite the same as it was, because that was
But
what
that's
made...
another thing where it's like where I think this is lacking, where I think they've taken things out too much, like
That's
the
true.
augmentation system being simplified.
I
Stuff
like
in
it.
the world is simplified.
That's true. They should have... Yeah, they could do more with that.
I'll tell you another thing that I wanted to say that was another annoyance that I found with the augmentations. Like, quite early in the game, you've got to break into that gang territory.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, they don't, it's like, you can't be seen.
I just shot everyone for that one. I
Well-
don't know why. I just decided to go lethal for that one. I was like,
You're like, fuck that, man, there's...
I'm trying out my pistol, damn it.
I guess. But it was like, the secondary objective was like, don't be seen while you're in their territory.
Oh, ghost
Which
or whatever.
is not really don't be seen, it's like, don't have anyone see you long enough for it to go hostile.
Yeah.
You can alert them, you can make them walk into one big clump and then kill them all.
Cool.
But it was like, don't be seen, and I was like, I couldn't see an obvious way in, because it's like the front has these had like 4 guys to get to the front door,
Yeah.
and there doesn't seem to be a sewer system that links to that specific bit of the city.
There's a kind of roof way, but it's very dodgy.
There's
I
a-
wish
yeah.
I had the Icarus.
There's
Atlas
like
system
a
out
roof bit where you can climb along some pipes and then jump onto a bank, and then there's like a route round the back with some big crates where you have to have the strength up.
there. Yeah, there's various ways.
So I was like, okay, so there's these 3 different ways in, really. So I went up on the roofway, and first of all, I was having trouble jumping across there, because I didn't have the jump augmentation at that point. So I was
Me
like,
either.
and then
I fell down about 3 times.
so
in that
eventually I
alley.
was like, well, I guess fuck the roofway because I can't make that jump.
Yeah.
So I went down to like the lifting the big crates way.
Mhm.
I didn't have the strength augmentation, so I had to take that. Took the strength augmentation, moved the crates, murdered those 2 guys who were behind the crates for some reason, guarding an empty corridor. Naturally,
Because they're just hanging out.
they're just chilling,
Yeah.
pointing their guns down a corridor
Yeah.
for no reason.
Because they're gangsters.
Generic low-ranking gangsters.
Yeah.
Let's point our guns.
So it's like I killed them, and then I went in, and then I was like, oh wait, this basically just leads to the balcony.
Yeah.
The door just comes out underneath the bit that you can jump to from the roof. So I was like, well, if I just put this crate here, I can just jump onto that ledge this
Yeah.
way. And I was like, well, that's easier.
Yeah.
So I climbed up that balcony thing, and then that's just a fucking dead end unless you have punch through walls.
You can blow up them with grenades.
Well, you can, but you don't see. It doesn't highlight it. Like, when you have punch through walls, it highlights the specific area
does
of
it?
broken walls.
I didn't know that.
I
got that one yet.
I could see that it was breakable, and I was like, I didn't really know whether you could break stuff, and I didn't really have any explosives at that point either.
I had a grenade, so I think I used it.
So I was like, well, obviously I need to punch through walls to go through here. So I this was still experimentation. So I was like, I punch through walls, and of course there's conveniently a guy standing on the other side of the wall, so you can do the awesome thing where you punch through and then grab him,
Awesome.
that kind of shit. So then I punched through that wall, killed the two guys who were standing in this fucking dead end again. Literally a dead end. It's totally sealed off. There's no other doors. Because from there, the only way to get down from there is to use the fucking Icarus landing system in this empty elevator shaft. So you have to you have to get through that wall, and then you're still in a dead end that you can't go any further unless you have the fucking landing system. I was like, this is not a choice. This is making me spend every single one of my points.
I don't think I had to spend all those points getting into that area. I must have gone...
Well, the way I did it in the end was I sat back across the other side of the street next to where the hookers are and used the tranquilizer gun and sniped all the guys at the entrance and then just walked in.
Just chilling with your hose.
Yep.
Killing dudes.
I like how the tranquilizer dart thing works now. Because in the original, like, you'd hit them and they'd instantly start going,
Well, obviously they weren't going to keep that element of theirs.
But now you hit them and it doesn't take effect for like 2 or 3 seconds, so it's a bit
A number of
unnerving.
times we've referenced that.
You don't know if you've hit them or missed them.
Well, you can see them jerk very slightly when it hits.
And then they just fall over, bonk. It's like hitting a...
Wouldn't they be like, fucking ow!
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah. But maybe the...
You can literally see it sticking out of them as well.
You can.
On their
cool.
corpse.
Oh, by the way, I give this game the Dan Train Award for finally having bodies
That you
ragdoll
can
bodies
pile.
that pile up.
Yeah, we mentioned that.
Pile of bodies.
That's so good. I'm so glad they did. I quite like the dragging bodies where you hold the button to drag them.
Platform
I think
still
that
kind of-
works.
Still kind of looks dumb where they're just sort of ragged on
Yeah,
behind
but
you.
it's better than the first game.
Well,
It's improvement.
You wouldn't drag bodies, you'd fucking pick them up like you do in the first game.
I know, it's kind of cool, like, when there's an enemy right there and you're like, yoink.
Well, it's cool when you're like dragging them around the corner just out of range as the camera turns around, and you think that's awesome. Like their feet were just disappearing around the corner when the camera
When the
turns.
camera saw, yeah. Man.
But of course, cameras detect bodies as well, which I
They
find
do.
really annoying.
Well, of course they do.
It's like they're in telecams. What are they being run by? Some kind of fucked up body detecting AI?
No,
Like, what are they
Watching
seeing?
them.
Yeah, but then you never see a control room. You see
Be-
computer panels, but they never have anyone at them.
It'd be like image analysis of the future, where it's like if you see a body-shaped thing that isn't moving for more than 5 seconds.
Could be sleeping.
Yeah, and most of the time they are, because you've knocked them out.
Well, there you go. That counts.
Yeah, but they're sleeping.
Sleeping.
They're just having a nap. They
yeah,
get
but
tired.
In the
yeah,
They're
but
patrol.
then the alarm goes off when the guard falls asleep. I think that would be quite sensible.
Maybe.
10 minutes.
But yeah, so there's,
I like it. I like Deus Ex.
I
There
think
are
it's okay,
flaws.
but I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's more than 80% amazing.
Do you think they're planning for sequels?
Well,
I
I'm planning
don't
for
know.
DLC, motherfuckers.
I hope they do a sequel and they make it like, and they take their time over it, like another 2 years development, and then they
Put in more mechanics.
actually
I'd say.
do some nice newer things, and like put in the LMR.
It's like I was saying.
tech, do
It's
all
like
that
I was
cool
saying
stuff.
before we started recording. The thing I had with Deus Ex is like it took me like 30 hours or whatever
Yeah.
my playthrough.
Yeah.
But then I realised that I could have done it a million times quicker because like the first half of the game when there was the period of exploration where you're like trying different routes out like I was in that game territory. So obviously that takes time just to sort of wander around, explore the different options.
Yeah, it's fun.
But then I realised that I'd spent like quite a lot of time hacking things and opening doors, and that's entirely pointless. Because once you've loaded up with ammo and your inventory's full, there's no other things you can find.
It's kind of true of the first game as well, though. There's
It's kind
a
of
lot
true.
of like
But that is like in the
stashes of
first
stuff that
game.
were useless.
In the first game, it was like you'd get the augmentation canisters and the augmentation upgrades most of the time.
Very
you'd find-
rarely.
Well, but that was one of the different things you could get.
That's true.
It's like in this, all you can get really is weapon upgrades, and the weapon upgrades make such a minor difference.
But the thing is, in Deus Ex, it's like those canisters. What ended up happening is that you got them in a big clump in the VersaLife building or something, and it was like, choose now your loadout for the rest of the game. Have a spy drone that's completely fucking useless.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
I don't know. I quite like what they've done in that sense. I like your apartment. It's just like in the concept art. It's nice.
It's just too. It's like a lot of the time I actually spent in that game. I catch myself doing it where I'd like in those like the locked garages.
Yeah.
The locked garages in the city hubs.
Yeah.
I'd find myself going up to a panel and then starting to hack it, and it'd be like, I might as well stop doing this because there's not going to be anything in there.
Yeah.
It basically became pointless to open things which is really sort of half what that game is, looting shit. Like opening desk drawers or anything, because there's not going to be anything in there that I can carry. Maybe one more grenade if I've already used a grenade this mission.
Well, there are more of the weapon upgrades, and there are more levels of that than in the first game, so it's quite nice.
Are
they're more common.
really?
Yeah, if you look on the
in this one it has specific numbers of upgrades, but in the original it didn't really tell you how many you could fix.
No.
I don't know if there is more.
Yeah.
Necessarily. And a lot of the weapons only have like one upgrade route. It's like the only thing you can upgrade on the tranquilizer rifle is reload speed, because obviously it doesn't do damage.
But pistols and stuff you can put direct damage and shit on.
You put every
Clip,
pistol. You can make the pistol
speed.
ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
Armor piercing.
That's great. That's awesome.
Also, it's really dumb how the special upgrade for the combat rifle was homing bullets.
That's cool though.
No, it's really not. I don't want to spoil it really, but basically, I had the combat rifle and I didn't have that upgrade. And then I got to this point in the game and I found that upgrade just lying around, basically. There's a fucking beeping noise going on somewhere out there.
Tone.
Well, so I found that upgrade just lying around
It's the time running out one.
in a fairly obvious place. I attached it to my gun, and then that made the next bit very easy. I won't exactly describe what that is, because that's a big spoiler, but
Okay.
basically that upgrade when I found it was in such a place that when I attached it, it totally negated the whole point of the next section of this map, basically, because I just...
Is it too awesome then, the homing bullets?
It's not... Well, it's pretty awesome, but it's awesome in a very specific way that relates to this part of the story.
I better make sure I have a combat rifle at that point then.
Well, you also... That's just... I'm not...
So I've dropped mine now. I picked up the crossbow instead.
No, I never used the crossbow.
I thought I'd try it because it's lethal and it's silent.
But just before that bit is also the first place you get... Well, not quite the first place, but one of the early places where you can find the laser rifle, and I think that may be quite useful for that bit as well.
Right.
But I didn't take it because I was carrying the rocket launcher stupidly.
I'm planning on using the Typhoon for all future bosses and then stealthing it otherwise. That's my plan, but I don't know if it'll work.
Have you put any thought into my feature this week?
No.
Love-hate game.
No, we haven't been thinking about your feature at all. The fact that you even mentioned it now was a surprise.
You didn't give me much choice. I have like 5 minutes left to get it in.
Because we talked about shit. Stop
Games
complaining.
that I like that Zach doesn't like. Deus Ex
I like
Revolution.
them. I like it. It's just not incredible.
Yeah.
It could have been a lot better.
Yeah, it could have been better, but I'm enjoying it.
Also, the ending is dumb.
I don't want to know that. I like it. It's good.
It's
pretty.
I want to say something about it, but I'm not sure if I can say it.
Save it for a spoiler cast.
Well, okay. The idea of this game having choice, like
spoiler potential warning.
the choice of not the choice of going through this game in any other way than stealth, as we've already said, but the idea that like your actions in the world matter or whatever in an RPG style.
Not many games, even RPGs, have actually pulled that off.
No, and this game doesn't either. I can safely tell you from the ending.
Sure. Okay. Well, it's a big ask.
Like, but it not only does it not pull it off, it tries to and fails really in a bad way.
So let's ask that question now, quickly, in the last time. What games have actually given you, like, moral choice and actually properly affected like, the outcome? Like, completely diverged?
Pretty much all of BioWare's stuff, sure.
Yeah, not Zero Republic.
Did that actually
Nice
matter,
Zero Republic.
Yeah.
In the end of, like, Bioshock?
Actually, no, in fairness, in Mass Effect, it makes no fucking difference, does it?
Well, in 2, it
theoretically makes difference in the next game.
But probably won't.
But won't.
No, the moral system didn't make any sense, did it? It didn't make much difference.
It made more of an effect at the end of 2, really, if you think about it.
Right at the end, though.
Right at the end, the collector base.
It's like you can blow it up or you don't.
Oh, yeah, but you have the choice to do that, though.
Yeah, but that's still a moral choice.
Yeah, but it's not based on your entire game of choices, is it? It's just like...
No, but your game of choices in terms of the loyalty you get, whether or not you get the loyalty and your actions. The crew depend on the final
again,
outcome.
I don't really count that
loyalty
choice.
isn't in the moral. Yeah, loyalty isn't in the moral system, really.
No.
But isn't some of the moral choices dependent on whether you can make them loyal?
No, you just end up. There's always a way.
I don't know. I've not played that because both times I've played it through, and I really probably want to play it through again in another way. I've had full loyalty, even when you get to the points where you have the arguments where you could possibly lose one. I've had enough of a Paragon bit that I can basically go, no, both calm down. You both still like me.
Yeah.
Basically, you can't play Mass Effect the middle ground, then you'd suffer. If you play it like morally one way or the other.
Most of those with the moral choice systems.
Yeah.
Which is just what Yahtzee says.
The only game I can think of that takes that concept to the extreme is Alpha Protocol, because that really did have a proper. Not that I've played it myself, but from what I know about it, it has a severe consequence system, as in you'll ruin relationships with other characters. Hence, that entire next part of the game where they're involved plays out very differently.
Black and white.
That totally changes
fuck
the
black
game.
and white.
That totally changes the game if you play evil or good.
Careful.
Fuck Peter Molyneux.
That's the closest I could think of was black and white.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
But it was impossible to play evil, so.
I don't know, Rick used to.
No, he pulled it off somehow accidentally. So.
Yeah.
He's just evil.
Yeah.
Accidentally.
It's natural.
Well, that was the marketing campaign, was it was going to reflect who you
But
were.
it's like when I tried to play Black and White 2 again, and I was like, I'm going to play this evil, and it's like, this just doesn't work. Mainly because it pushes you to being good almost immediately from the start of the game, and then you're almost irreparably on that route.
Nice Zero Republic isn't really different. It's just quite clever because it works either way. That's the thing. The end of the story works whether you're
Yeah, but that's
pure
just
good or pure evil.
That's just a get out of jail free
I know,
card
it's
for
just
them, where it's just
clever.
like, suddenly, I got that shit happened before.
That's standard Star Wars fare anyway. If you go back to playing Jedi Knight, the very first Jedi Knight,
It works either way.
there was very minor variation after the decision
I was
point.
about to say, what about the other fuck Peter Molyneux games like Fable?
Oh, fuck that.
We haven't played those enough to know.
Oh, apparently,
Play about
so what
half
is it
an
in
hour
Fable
Fable
3?
2,
Either
that's
you're good and everyone dies,
Yeah.
or you're evil and some of your people survive.
But they hate you.
But they hate you.
Yeah,
Yeah, great.
I watched somebody play the ending to that. That was pretty
Feel
much
good
what-
ending of the year.
Yeah.
Or you just cheat.
So that's
And,
lost as well.
and do all the good things that cost money by just leaving the game running for millions of hours. You just build up money.
That's happened a couple of times in Deus Ex where it's like, give me money for the good ending of this quest.
I
It's
hate
like, that's
that.
all my money.
I went to the guy and it was like, pay me 5,000 quid, and I'm like, literally do not have 5,000 quid, but I can't back out of this conversation now, so I just have to say no.
1 minute.
I know.
1 minute.
What I did was reload and punch him and just nick the thing off his body. They'll never know.
It's true. They will never know, because they'll never look into that route ever.
Well,
Wrap this shit, yo.
yes, well, thanks for joining us
Let's get out of this boiling hot
on
room.
this
Woo!
epic Saladcast of Deus Exing and Assassin's
Heated.
Creeding and Red Deading. Yes, and heated exchanges
In a heated room.
in a heated room about the merits of the new Deus Ex game. Well, you'll hear plenty more about it because I'm
Yeah,
not
you've
even
got to
halfway
finish
through.
it. And then maybe we can talk about the end.
I won't be finished it for a while.
I think when you finish it, we can probably do spoilers.
Okay. Well, look forward to that in a few weeks' time. So yes, join us again on the Saladcast for more gaming stuffs.
Mumbo jumbo.
Bye, everybody.
Say bye.
Bye!
You got 2 seconds.
Bye.
Bye. Bye some more.
Cock.
Knobbing.
Cocks.
Knobbing.
Dick.
Knobbing
Dick.
cock.